Thank you so much for coming to our council meeting today. We're going to be getting started right now. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5:05 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan. Here. Councilmember Dickinson. Here. Councilmember Pluckybaum. Councilmember Maple. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Guerra. Here. Councilmember Jennings. Here. Councilmember Vang. Here. We expect Mayor McCarty shortly. Vice Mayor Talamantes.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Wonderful. Mayor Pro Tem Guerra, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the land acknowledgement?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Please rise for the opening acknowledgments in honor of Sacramento's indigenous people and tribal lands. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Maidu, Valley and Plains Miwok, the Putnam-Wintun people, and the people of the Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe. May we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather together today in the active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Sacramento's indigenous peoples, history, contributions, and lives. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem Guerra. We are going to be starting off with special presentations, and today, as Vice Mayor, I get the honor of presenting this resolution recognizing Disability Pride Month. Disability Pride Month is the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act on July 26, 1990, a landmark civil rights law that prohibits discrimination based on disability in employment, education, transportation, and public services. As a city, we have a responsibility to ensure that Sacramento continues to foster a truly inclusive and accessible community. I've been proud to work on making our council chamber doors ADA accessible and advocating for the Kings to improve their ADA drop-off on the Golden One Arena, along with many of my colleagues here, many years in the making. And I want to take this moment to recognize local organizations leading the way, such as Pride Industries, headquartered right here in Sacramento, who has been a national leader for nearly 60 years, creating job opportunities and providing support services, along with the Alta California Regional Center, thank you, serving over 34,000 people across 10 counties, offering vital services like early intervention, individualized planning, and supported living to individuals and families throughout the region. So I'm honored to present this resolution today and to share this moment with individuals here. But first, I want to give a shout out to a few members of the Disabilities Advisory Commission. Mike Barnbon, thank you so much for being here. Mark Laver, Lori and Adrian Quintero, Joseph Wilson, Gabe Corey, my intern. And so now, if I can please have our two speakers come up. Joseph Wilson, who's a member of the Disabilities Advisory Commission, and Adrian Quintero from Pride. And if I called your name, feel free to just hang out at the podium. And first up, we'll have Joseph Wilson.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Joseph Wilson. I'm also a commissioner for the Disability Advisory Commission. I'm also a assistant church advocate for resources for independent living. And this proclamation is a step in the right direction. And thank you for doing this. It's also a good promise that, you're going to invest in the futures of people with disabilities to make sure that we're all able to access the city like everybody else. Again, disabilities also include invisible disabilities, such as mental health conditions. Again, when people with disabilities need in the city are a safe place to live, not laws that criminalize just trying to find a good place to sleep. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next up, we have Adrian from Pride Industries.
Good afternoon. My name is Adrian Quintero. I'm one of the employment specialists with Pride Industries. I'd like to thank you guys for having us. On behalf of Pride Industries and all of our clients, I would like to thank you, the Sacramento City Council, and special thanks to Vice Mayor Karina Telemontes for this Disability Pride Month resolution. We appreciate that. Since 1966, for 59 years, Pride Industries has provided competitive business resolutions and services to the people we serve in our mission to create sustainable employment for people with disabilities. We envision an inclusive workforce where everyone has equal access to achieve their employment goals. An example of some of the larger contracts we have in the region, we have contracts with Amazon, Hewlett-Packard, and SMUD as well, where we provide custodial services. And some of the smaller contracts we have in the region, we have contracts with Thunder Valley. We have 40 of our employees that actually run their entire laundry service. And some of the, they also clean some of the facilities as well. Eschaton in Sacramento as well. And then we're under negotiations right now with Sky River Casino. So in 2 weeks, hopefully we'll land those guys as well. And we'll have a contract with them to create some employment opportunities for the individuals that we serve. Again, thank you to the Sacramento City Council for your continued support to the individuals with disabilities and the people that we serve at Pride Industries. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Bang. You guys can stay at the podium. Councilmember Bang has some comments.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. First, Vice Mayor, I just want to say thank you so much for bringing such an important resolution to be recognized today. It's so important that we recognize the strength and the contribution of people with disabilities, challenge ableism in all of its form, and really ensure that we're fighting for equity for all folks, seen and unseen, in terms of disability, right? And I just really want to take this moment to thank the advocates for all your hard work that you do, holding us as Mayor and Council accountable to the needs of our incredibly diverse community. So really just want to say thank you for your advocacy, and thank you again, Vice Mayor, for bringing such an important resolution to Mayor and Council for consideration.
Thank you so much. Everybody come down? Come on. Come on, everybody come down.
Hey, Ruben.
Yeah, please, please, please.
Okay, everyone want to scoot in just a little bit?
Let's make sure we can see everybody.
Sorry. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Okay, and we will be doing the public hearing before we do the consent calendar because our staff has a lot of ballots to count. We want to get them started on it. So we're going to be taking up item 28, public hearing on renewal of 16th Street Property and Business Improvement District. Welcome.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and members of the City Council. I am Suzanne Tan with the Finance Department. The item before you is a public hearing for the renewal of the 16th Street P-bid for a 10-year term. Renewal of the 16th Street P-bid will continue to provide services and activities that create a special benefit to such properties within the district. At this time, staff recommends opening the public hearing. Upon the close of the public hearing, staff will count the ballots and come back to council as a consent item on August 12th with the ballot tabulation results. Thank you. Staff is available for any questions.
Wonderful. Seeing any questions? Councilmember Pluckybom.
I'll open and close the public hearing and move staff recommendation.
Or do we need to leave it open?
We don't. Thank you. I've got a motion by Councilmember Pluckybom and a second by Councilmember Dickinson. For the record, there are no members of the public to provide public comments.
Okay, wonderful. Everybody in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Seeing none? Okay. Moving along to our consent calendar. Are there members of the City Council that would like to make comment? Councilmember Maple, what items?
Items 1, 5, and 25.
1, 5, 25. Councilmember Kaplan?
8, 11, and 25.
5. Okay. Councilmember Dickinson?
Just to add a comment on item 11, thanks.
11. Thank you. And Councilmember Guerra?
5, and then I believe 25.
Okay. And City Clerk, is there any public comment on this, on items on consent calendar?
I have no speakers for the consent calendar.
Okay. We will start with item number 1, Councilmember Maple.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. With item number 1, this is approving the preliminary plans and environmental document for the Broadway Vision Zero project. And, you know, I've said this many times from the dais, and I'll say it again. This is the really important work by our staff in the Public Works Department. These complete street projects literally change lives and save lives by making our streets safer for pedestrians and cyclists and slowing down traffic. And so I'm so excited that we're taking our next step. It's a long process, and we've seen the improvements that they have been made when we're able to actually get them constructed. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of work by our staff to make it happen, and a lot of steps in the process. So I just really want to thank staff so much for their work on this. This is one of the priority areas in my district where we see a lot of challenges in terms of people's speed and safety. So thank you.
Thank you. And then item 5 is local partnership program project nominations, Councilmember Guerra and Councilmember Maple.
Thank you very much. I actually meant an item number 1, not an item number 5. But yes, again, I wanted to thank, I think Councilmember Maple mentioned this a project very significantly, particularly Broadway and Stockton. That is one of the 5 most dangerous intersections in the city of Sacramento. That one is one of the highest death and injury networks. It's also close to a school. And I've seen so many parents who are starting to bike across that intersection. So being able to address that component as people are not only walking now to Aggie Square, to school, to their shopping, being able to respond to that. So I wanted to thank the staff again for that item. Thank you very much, Vice Mayor.
And with your permission, I'll combine my comments for this as well. This is a separate item, but still related to Broadway Vision Zero. So I think I made my statements clear. Thanks.
Okay, wonderful. Councilmember Kaplan on item 8.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. This is the replacement fleet asset cooperative purchases. And I just want to call out that we are spending $29.5 million for 213 vehicles. Their useful life has ended, but it's important to note that there's been significant cost increases. So another item as we look at budget deficits, how do we do long-term planning for, we also look at our infrastructure, but we know our vehicles and our fleets need replacement. And just as an example of cost increase, we're purchasing some curb cutters, and in a short amount of time from planning to actual looking at purchasing, they've gone up $20,000, which wasn't necessarily budgeted for. So just something to be mindful of how do we plan for this, of not only addressing the backlog of infrastructure, but the need for fleets while at the same time having a structural budget deficit.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan, did you want to speak on item 11, and then Councilmember Dickinson on 11 also?
Yes, this goes across Councilmember Dickinson and I's districts. This is, really want to thank the city staff, Jackie, and the Parks Department. This is the Start After-School Education and Safety Program for the Robles School District. It had a couple of hiccups and some misunderstandings, but I really appreciate Parks rising above and finding a solution to some of the concerns Robles had to make this happen so that we can, a total of 500 students across 5 schools can be additionally supported with academic and programmatic support.
And I would just add my thanks as well to Jackie and the IPSI staff and to the Robles staff who are all coming together on this to be able to continue to serve the children in the district. And I'll sneak in a word I should have had on item 5, which is thanks for the Marysville LPP application as well. So thanks.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Guerra on item 20.
Thank you very much. I wanted just to thank staff and the city manager for responding to the concerns brought up, again, by our folks at Front Street. And this change to the capital improvement plan here will help us with Front Street's repairs to the cages and the doors and the hinges, and also some of the unsafe curb improvements there. And I wanted to also thank also our advisory commission for helping us identify these issues here and finding solutions for us to make sure that our volunteers have a safe time there, not only with the animals that we care for, but also for our employees and volunteers. So with that, thank you very much, City Manager, for responding to those concerns.
And Councilmember Maple on item 25.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Well, one, I just, as the chair of the Law and Legislation Committee, I work closely with Consuelo Hernandez, our Government Affairs Manager, and I'm really glad to see this contract come forward and have that continuity. But I want to provide some direction that we request at least some semi-regular updates from our Government Affairs team to either Law and Legislation or to this body. Like many other cities do, I think it's very important that we hear from our lobbyists about what they're working on and how the work that they're doing aligns with our past public policy platform that we have as a city. I know that there's very important issues that are going on in the legislature right now, including conversations around cap and trade, housing policy, and many, many others. And so I think it's just really important that the work that we do, I know that we do produce documents and put them in packets of information, but obviously not everybody reads through thousands of pages of documents all the time. And so I think it'd be great to have those semi-regular updates, not all the time. I know they're very busy doing the work that they do, but would love to see that. So that's my direction, and just appreciate the staff on this. Thanks.
Councilmember Kaplan on item 25.
I would like to echo my colleague. That was basically going to be my direction. Those who might be on Law and Ledge might see this a little bit more, but I think it's really important when we're looking at a $12,000 a month contract that we as the city actually know what our lobbyists are doing. Part of what I'd like to see is not a member of Law and Ledge. If we have letters of support as the city, even just a monthly during legislative season, the city of Sacramento has sent letters of support on these pieces of legislation. Councilmember Maple and I also do more for the larger Cal cities, so having a way to regularly stay up to speed, you do when you're on Law and Ledge, but now that I am no longer, I'm not sure what the city is getting for $12,000 a month. And I think we need to have some additional conversation, not only with Law and Ledge, but that even if it's an email that just goes out to council offices of here's what's done, here's what we advocated, here's what we've gotten through the budget, here's what we're working on, so that we can actually tell our taxpayers we're paying $12,000 a month for something.
Mayor Pro Tem Guerra on item 25, also on our final speaker on the consent calendar.
Comments have been said already. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, City Clerk.
Complete comments? Yes. Are we good? Thank you. So we can entertain a motion on the consent calendar?
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Councilmember Vice Mayor Talamantes and a second by Councilmember Dickinson.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none,
Items passed.
Thank you. So Mayor, we now move to the discussion calendar. We've already heard the public hearing. Item number 29 is authorization to reapply and to participate in the State of California's Pro-Housing Designation Program.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name is Angel Anguiano, and I'm an associate planner with the Community Development Department. I'm really excited to be here today to share with you our draft application for the Pro-Housing Designation application that we'll be submitting to the HCD. The Pro-Housing Designation Program is run by the California Department of Housing and Community Development to incentivize jurisdictions to adopt pro-housing policies. As you know, Sacramento became the first jurisdiction in the state of California to receive this Pro-Housing Designation Award in February of 2022. The city initially applied under emergency regulations, and our current designation expires on January 1st, 2026, and we will be applying under the new permanent regulations. Maintaining our pro-housing designation is crucial for competitiveness and state funding programs that help the city build more affordable housing and transportation infrastructure. The application under the permanent regulations includes some new components. The full application consists of 7 appendices listed here on the screen. The bolded items are those that have been posted for public input, which I will briefly walk you through. The main part of the application that determines the city's overall scores is found in Appendix 3, the project proposal scoring sheet. The project proposal scoring sheet is divided into 4 categories. Category 1 is favorable zoning and land use, which there are 21 possible points. Category 2 is the acceleration of housing production timeframes, and there are 21 possible points. Category 3 is the reduction in construction and development costs, there are 12 possible points. And Category 4 is providing financial subsidies, and there's 20 possible points. Points are achieved by thoroughly describing how the city is achieving these policies through either existing or proposed policies. Enhancement factors may also be added for additional 1 or 2 points per policy. One of the new application components under the new permanent regulations for the program is referred to as the encampment template. This section requires jurisdictions to describe how they conform to best practices outlined in the United States Interagency Council of Homelessness 7 principles for addressing encampments. The 7 principles for addressing encampments include things such as establishing a cross-agency, multi-sector response, engaging encampment residents to develop solutions, conducting coordinated outreach, addressing basic needs and providing storage and more. This encampment responses, the responses to this encampment template are found in Appendix 5 of the draft application. The other new part of the application process under the permanent regulations is a requirement to conduct a diligent public participation process before submitting an application to HCD. City staff begun this outreach process starting on July 14th and will be doing so through August 15th. On July 17th, we presented this to the city's Housing Policy Working Group. And on July 27th, we popped up at the Meadowviews Farmers Market. Flyers with QR codes to the city website have been posted in every council district at the locations listed here on the screen. We're also getting the word out through email, newsletters, and via announcements and presentations at public hearings. So what are the next steps? So today we are inviting the public to participate and review the draft application that's currently available on our city website. The deadline for public comment is on August 15th. We plan to submit the application to ACD in the fall and aim to receive our renewal designation prior to the current designation expiring on January 1st, 2026. Thank you. That concludes my presentation. I'm here to answer any questions, and also Greta Seuss and Ya Yin are available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Mayor, I have no public comment on item 29.
Thank you. Councilmember Guerra?
Thank you very much, Mayor. First, I just wanted to thank the staff on this. We are reapplying, and we were the first to apply for the pro-housing designation, and because of the hard work that our staff have done, we've achieved and secured a $2.5 million pro-housing grant in the past, but also more importantly, by us being successful through this designation, we get better scoring, and particularly one of the grants that the Affordable Housing Sustainable Community Grants, we've always, had challenges in scoring in that area for whatever reason, the way that the laws are drafted. It's always benefited areas like LA or the Bay Area, but by us being able to have a higher scoring through a pro-housing designation, that helps us achieve better outcomes. So just wanted to thank again the staff for the work on this and finding every different way that we can achieve these outcomes. And as was mentioned here, most of the policies have already been implemented now. The scoring comes also just by proposing or how we're going to do it, but the fact is that we as a city have actually done a lot of this work. So I'm excited about that, and with that, I'll go ahead and move the item.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan?
Thank you for that. I do want to echo what my colleague had said, but just also call out while we're trying to incentivize getting the pro-housing designation to make sure that we have enough affordable housing. We've, as a city, have only built 874 affordable units since 2021, where we're supposed to build over 12,000 by 2028, and the cost and gap financing is horribly difficult, but it's important to call it out that we do have to take whatever action possible to increase our chances of getting funding. And then also, if you go back, North Natomas doesn't have a community center. So as you do public outreach, our aquatic center really isn't a community center. It only hits a small specific population. Reach out to my office so that you guys can table at my farmer's market, which is every Saturday, which brings out a lot of people to the regional park and the community. So I'd hope that you will do that so that you can table and do some outreach at my farmer's market. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second on this item. No more comment. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Noes or abstentions? Hearing none. Item passes. Next item.
Next item is item 30, an ordinance amending section 12.74.030 of the Sacramento City Code relating to the City Hall facilities.
You're going to do the bridge first.
Appears we're going to reorder the agenda and take item 33, which is the I Street Bridge Replacement Project. And that's for construction funding and schedule update.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor McCarty and members of the Sacramento City Council. I'm Jesse Gothen, Supervising Engineer with the Department of Public Works, and thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on the I Street Bridge Replacement Project, a once-in-a-generation investment that will enhance connectivity, improve safety, and support economic growth throughout the region. I am joined here with Lucinda Wilcox, our Assistant Director to the Department of Public Works, Director Matt Eierman, Senior Engineer Phil Voulet, and Assistant City Manager Ryan Morin. So we'll be happy to answer any questions during the presentation. At 113 years old, the upper deck of the existing bridge no longer meets current standards for multimodal access for cyclists, accessibility, current or future transit. Accepted into the Caltrans Highway Bridge Program, the cities partnered with the City of West Sacramento in 2013 to kick off the project. We evaluated alternatives, eventually completing CEQA and NEPA documentation in 2019, and completed the architectural concept renderings establishing the profile for the design in 2020. This year, the final construction plans and the rights to build the project are scheduled to be complete, with construction to begin in 2026. The new bridge will span the Sacramento River from Rail Yards Boulevard in Sacramento to C Street in West Sacramento. It is located downriver from the confluence of the American River, the Sacramento Water Intake Facility, and just upriver of the existing I Street Bridge. Once the new bridge is constructed, the upper deck of the I Street will be repurposed for a shared-use trail connecting to the Sacramento River Parkway, the Sac Valley Station, and the West Sac Riverwalk. The lower deck will remain in use for freight and passenger rail, as the bridge is owned by Union Pacific Railroad. The project delivers on a wide range of benefits, establishing and enhancing multimodal connections to the riverfront and between the cities, supporting infill development in the rail yards and the Washington District, improving access to major job centers and economic opportunities. A cost-benefit analysis was completed for the project that includes improved access to hospitals, safety for pedestrians and cyclists, increased property values, and access to recreational facilities. It showed that the benefit to cost is 1.4 times the cost of the project. As an example, it's within walking distance of the 1.3 million square foot Kaiser facility. The removal of the Jaboom Street approach structure will allow for 5 acres to redevelop to hotel, multi-use family, and other retail uses. 16,000 jobs are located within a 30-minute walk, 184,000 jobs within a 30-minute bike ride, 746,000 jobs within a 30-minute drive. By connecting residents to jobs, the project helps advance equity and economic mobility. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Lucinda Wilcox to provide an update on our funding.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. I'm Lucinda Wilcox, the Assistant Public Works Director, and the reason we're here tonight is because we have secured all the necessary funding to enable us to begin construction on this project next spring. But it will require us to enter into several funding and financing agreements over the next several months, so we wanted to bring you up to speed so that you'll be prepared when we bring those to you. So in terms of the funding for this project, we estimate construction will be about $300 million. So the funding for this project, the bulk of it will be $250 million in Highway Bridge Program funds. Those are federal formula funds that come from Caltrans and are administered by them, intended to replace basically obsolete bridges. Earlier this year, we got Caltrans to agree to the $250 million, an increased amount. Then in June, we were approved for $25 million in state-local partnership program funding. It's a SB1 program. And so with that amount of funding, that leaves a $25 million to be split between the two cities, the city of Sacramento and the city of West Sac. So there is a wrinkle with the $250 million that Caltrans agreed to. They are requiring us to enter into a high-cost bridge agreement. And what that means is, well, all of our grants are on a reimbursement basis, meaning we spend the money and then we invoice and they reimburse us. For bridges over $35 million, Caltrans requires us to, they will not guarantee reimbursement of more than $20 million a year. So while the bridge construction we expect will take 4 years, if we only get the minimum amount of $20 million a year in reimbursements, we will only get $80 million in those 4 years. And so we need to enter into some kind of financing arrangement so we're able to finance the bridge up front. We identified a number or explored a number of options, And the most feasible seems to be a financing arrangement through the Sacramento Transportation Authority, which is our local sales tax agency. They seem like a good partner for several reasons. They have an excellent credit rating. They are designed to support transportation projects. And while the city is a member, one of the important things is by going through this kind of financing, we don't expose the city's general fund. So, and in addition, we'll need to enter into a cost-sharing agreement with West Sacramento to be responsible for half the local costs and half the debt financing costs. I'm not advancing. Oh, there we go. So next steps, on August 14th, the STA board, of which many of you are a member, will be, if you approve this item tonight, we'll be considering potential ability to finance the loan through the full board. We also will submit a financial plan to Caltrans to explain to them how we intend to finance the bridge. Then we'll be back in September because we will need approval of the high-cost bridge agreement this federal fiscal year. So that has to occur before October. Then over the fall and winter, we'll bring back final agreements to you to consider with the goal of advertising the project this winter, executing all the necessary agreements, and then awarding the contract next spring. So with that, again, we'll be back to you several times over the next several months to talk more in detail about funding agreements, but we just wanted to make sure that you were comfortable with us moving forward. We'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Public comment on this item?
Sure. Mayor, I have no public comments on item 33.
Okay, no public comment. Councilmember Guerra,
Apparently, I do have one.
on this item?
Michael Hutnick on item 33.
Hello, thank you very much. I'll keep this brief. I just had a question about the previous presentation as far as over a 16-year period what that debt servicing is going to look like. And I understand that there are some more reports that are forthcoming, so I just want to make sure that that figure is included in those. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my commissioner, right? Okay. Thank you. No more public comment. Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm very very pleased to see how we're moving forward on this. I know there's been a lot of questions or concerns on how we were going to finance this, and I appreciate the creativity and in working through this option through the STA. Also, I think the challenge that we have right now between our two cities is one, we really don't have a safe, a fully safe, both pedestrian and bike way to cross. I mean, you can go over the Tower Bridge here, but you have the conflict with pedestrians, cyclists, and in very specific cases, narrow cases, and then even going over the rails. So this is an interesting project because it'll link both what will be a very walkable community in the West Sacramento side to the newly developed rail yards. That'll also be a very walkable community with all the entertainment. So on one side, I think that it's a shame that we're in a city where we don't have that many bridges and to link number of cities, and so this is an opportunity for us to do that. And the fact is every time I go to a city when there's bridges or walkways over waterways, that's the first place where people go to. They want to go take those photos. They want to be part of that. So it's exciting to actually move forward on this. I do want to thank my previous colleagues, who worked on this, Councilmember Hanson as well. It's exciting to get to at least this point. And if I'm correct, we might have construction begin in 2026. And that is, I think, the even more exciting piece because there were thoughts at some point that it might be another decade before we actually got going. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead and move the staff recommendation.
Thank you, Councilmember. We have a motion, second by Councilmember Jennings. Councilmember Dickinson for comments.
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to amplify a little bit of what my colleague has just said, which I completely agree with, but I think there's an enormous amount to like about this project. And I just wanted to tick off a few of these items. You mentioned a number of them in the staff report, but I think presentation, I think it's worth emphasizing. The VMT reduction, that we don't get that out of very many road or bridge projects. So I think that's particularly notable. As Mr. Guerra referenced, the dedicated pedestrian and bike ways that we will get with the ultimate project. We're going to open up more of the waterfront, which was mentioned in the staff presentation as well. But that ongoing effort to optimize our waterfront, it is a place where people go, and as Mr. Guerra noted, and this is an opportunity to make it even more economically attractive and viable. The streetcar capability that's going to be included on the bridge. I'm not going to tell you how long ago it was I started working on a streetcar between West Sacramento and Sacramento, but maybe this will help bring it to fruition one of these days. The partnership with West Sacramento. Sometimes we take these things for granted, but I think it's worth noting that we are working very closely with the city of West Sacramento to accomplish this project. And increase safety by having the modes with their own dedicated lanes and right-of-way access. We're going to increase safety for everybody, and I think that's a very significant element as well. So there's, I think, just a few of the many, many benefits which will make this a win-win-win-win-win-win project at least. I want to thank I think the staff has done terrific work on this to get this to this point. I think if we were sitting here 6 months ago, certainly a year ago, there would have been, we'll never figure out a way to find the funding to get this bridge done despite all the effort, but yet here we are on the cusp of doing just that. But I do encourage us to continue to look at ways to reduce the financing costs over time. We know that is just money that goes to pay interest, and to the extent that we can figure out ways in the financing of this project to avoid that, that's money not spent for financing that we will have to spend on other good projects out there. So I hope and I'm confident that we will continue to be diligent with all the agencies to figure out how to reduce those financing costs as this project goes forward. So thanks, Mayor. I'm looking forward to going across this bridge.
Yes, Councilmember Talamantes, Vice Mayor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just want to say kudos to staff for submitting such a competitive grant application and securing $250 million to be able to construct and build this bridge. And so I just want to give you guys a big congratulations. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I just also want to note that in the staff report, it says we started this river crossings discussion in 2011, so that's a long time ago. It's going to take a long time to build this bridge, but our jobs are to do things that we may not see during our tenure or sometimes many, many years, and this is one thing that's going to benefit generations. And we said it already, but last night I walked across the bridge going to the A's game and walked back and looked over there and certainly think about the potentials. And yes, when you go to travel and go to another location, people gather on water and the bridges, and not just a replacement bridge for the unusable for so many of the modes of transportation, but just a dedicated bridge for bike and pedestrians going to make it a marquee thing. And we're trying to activate the water, the rail yards, entertainment districts, complete streets. This checks all those boxes, and enthusiastic yes tonight for me and the council. So with that, we have a motion and a second. Please call. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none. 9-0. Thank you.
Mayor, we now move to item number 30, ordinance amending section 12.74.030 of the Sacramento City Code relating to the City Hall facilities.
You're gonna go. Perfect. Yep.
Can we bring up the PowerPoint? It is up. Yay. Let me just make sure my thing works. And it does. Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for your time tonight. I will be presenting this item, but I do have a lot of staff here to help answer any questions that you may have. Before I begin tonight, I know this discussion will be difficult, and we are all empathetic to the unhoused and the complexity of the care this community needs. At the same time, I am also empathetic to our employees, and I recognize that it does affect our employees as well as our community that comes to City Hall. I hope you all have had a chance to review the staff report that includes a summary of answers to the questions asked on July 1st, additional data, and a summary of the employee survey. We hope that the staff report and additional information provide more context and understanding of the complex issues surrounding the effect and the effect of the unhoused at City Hall. As you'll recall, this ordinance amendment would regulate the use of the facility in a way that aligns with current law, maintains a safe and secure environment for city employees and our residents who visit City Hall, and provides accessibility to first responders and their equipment in case of an emergency. The slides ahead are brief and share some of the information gathered since our meeting on July 1st. And I do want to thank our police department, Public Works, Facilities Division, and the Department of Community Response for working with my team on analyzing and gathering this data. I would specifically like to thank my staff for quickly developing a survey and analyzing the results. So let's start there. 621 employees based at the Sacramento City Hall complex were asked to provide feedback. The survey was sent on July 3rd and closed on July 14th. We received 355 responses, resulting in a 57.2% response rate. This response rate is really telling, especially during vacation time. Clearly, our employees have something to say about their experiences. A detailed summary is provided along with 18 pages of open-ended comments. But the key takeaways are that the survey reveals a strong and consistent concern among City Hall employees about safety, cleanliness, and the overall condition of the grounds. While many of the comments provided clear empathy for our unhoused neighbors, staff express a need for boundaries and better infrastructure to support a clean and safe working environment. Over the years, there have been many calls pertaining and or involving the people experiencing homelessness in and around City Hall. These calls come from either 911, 911 non-emergency. This data reflects the calls just for police service. This side reflects a consistent number of calls for that service from 2018 to 2024 at and around City Hall. There is additional information in the staff report about 311 calls for service as well. Unfortunately, some of the data at the end of the report did not transition well from spreadsheet to PDF, so please note that we have posted a supplemental item and have shared handouts at the dais and are available with the city clerk. This data included crime data and calls for service. Lastly, on page 36, in the summary provided in the staff report is a table that was mislabeled and had missing data. This table was data of just reports taken in and around City Hall. And the last 2 years of data were that there were 92 reports in 2024 and 222 reports so far in 2025. Next is our custodial and security costs, and please note these estimates encompass the overall custodial and maintenance expenses for all of City Hall and not just the courtyard. However, over the years, as we have responded to the need to clean up and or address graffiti issues, our costs have risen to maintain the space. Annual costs for custodial services and security have risen by 77% and 89% respectively. In 2018, the cost for custodial services and maintenance amounted to $598,000. The estimated cost for the calendar year 2025 is expected to be over $1 million, reflecting an overall increase of 77%. Additionally, in 2018, the police department and City Hall security costs were around $590,000 and are estimated to reach a little over $1.1 million by the end of 2025, reflecting an overall increase of 89%. We have also had to increase our security presence at an additional cost. Relative to policy implementation, the above slide represents a change that would be consistent with what is done outside of City Hall regarding enforcement. The main difference is that enforcement at City Hall would now be allowed from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. After an educational period, it's 30 days until the ordinance would be implemented. If a subject refused to depart following the issuance of a citation, this would be treated like any other encampment across the city. Primary ordinances utilized for unlawful camping and related charges include storage of excess property on public and private property, camping on public and private property, sidewalk obstruction, and camping near critical infrastructure. At this point, this concludes my presentation. Staff are available to answer any questions you may have. It is a lot of information. I understand it's a 90-page report, and I look forward to public comment on this item.
Thank you. We will now begin with public comments. We have roughly 40 speakers. We'll have 2 minutes per speaker, as is usual. I know that's over an hour, of course, depending on how long individuals speak, and we're not going to shorten the speaking time, but we just ask that everybody stay on time and keep it to the measure and be respectful. Thank you. First item, first speaker.
Thank you, Mayor. Michael Hutnick, Regina Brink, Hazel Watson. Please feel free to line up in the middle aisle. Again, Michael Hutnick, Regina Brink, Hazel Watson, Margie Miller.
Hello. I would like to thank Mayor McCarty for his leadership on this issue, and I'd also like to thank Councilmember Vang for pulling this item from consent on July 1st so we could get a glimpse into who's really working for this city. We elected you all to make the difficult calls for us. The mayor, Rick Jennings, Eric Guerra, Phil Pluckybaum, Karina, apologies, and Roger Dickinson. They all get that without the real estate and development sector, good people like me wouldn't have a place to live. And without a robust police force, good people like me could end up doing bad things. These are the pillars of civilization, and they deserve 100% of our support. Councilmember Vang, Maple, and Kaplan may be bought and paid for by big poverty, but they'll be replaced just like Katie Valenzuela, the biggest anti-prosperity one of them all. Some people may view today's amendment as small potatoes, but I agree that you have to clean your own house before you can venture forth and heal the rest of the city. I hope that today marks the first step in a glorious future for this city, one where we have the courage to solve our problems. Why would we let these dregs on society clutter our streets? They don't deserve to exist. Get rid of them by any means necessary. Kill them if you have to. I mean, my God, we're about to have a soccer stadium. We have an NBA team. This city is on the verge of greatness. Lead us to our destiny. But if you haven't really learned to read satire, I got a bunch of people behind me. They're going to tell it to you straight. So please stay off your phones during their comments. Thank you very much.
Speaker is Regina Brink. I'd like to remind members of the audience, please do not disrupt the orderly conduct of these proceedings by continuing to speak out from the audience. You would be in violation of Chapter 5 of the City Council Rules of Procedure, and if you continue, you will be asked to leave the meeting. Thank you. Ms. Brink?
Mayor McCarty and council members, I am here to oppose item 30 and to appeal to your understanding and reason. Recent analysis by Sacramento County has concluded that around 50% of the unhoused in our city are people with disabilities. A significant number are seniors, families with children, women and youth escaping domestic violence, and the working poor. For people with disabilities, the California rate for SSI is currently $1,206.94 per month. For blind individuals, it is $1,291.30 per month. The average rate for a studio apartment in Sacramento is now $1,493. As for seniors like me, who only work part-time due to new disabling conditions, it is not unusual to pay 50% or more of our income for housing. This is the case for me. The waiting lists for housing for the disabled are years long and often depend on one's ability to independently fill out print or inaccessible online applications, which people with disabilities cannot do. Item 30 would mean removing people like me who find these grounds to be somewhat safer and less intimidating than just sleeping on the street somewhere. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't make my payments due to illness or the interruption of my Social Security or the loss of my part-time employment. We know Sacramento has nowhere for unhoused people to go. Until we do, initiatives like item 30 only punish people like me. I plead with you to vote no.
Thank you for your comments. Hazel Watson. Hazel Watson. Marge Miller.
She's not moving.
Our Sergeant at Arms.
I want you to see it's going to be people like me that will be removed. I don't need to
Ms. Brink, your time is complete. We appreciate your comments. Our next speaker is Hazel Watson. Please take your seat. Do you need assistance?
No.
She's not moving.
Can we get the handheld microphone for our next speaker, Ms. Hazel Watson? Then Margie Miller. Hazel Watson.
You want to see the dirty work of them being removed?
You're going to leave her here? She's doing this on purpose.
Your eyes? I know. He wants to do it.
So, Mr. Mayor, your next option would be to clear the chambers and only let people that are not disrupting the meeting return into chambers. Ms. Brink, would you like to take your seat so we can continue with the other public comments?
That is an option.
I
and
want you to
I'd
see what
prefer-
you're voting on. People like me being removed.
Yeah, Madam Clerk, that is an option. I just want to note, we want to hear you. I realize there's differing opinions. I understand it. There's members as council that have different opinions, as probably I do. This is why we're going to have a democratic process tonight. I want everybody to speak. I'm not shorting anyone their time. So we will ask the next speaker to come up, and we have a handheld mic for that option. If you'd like to disrupt, you certainly can. We will have to change the meeting accordingly and probably limit public participation. I'm not sure that's what you would like, but that's certainly my option. So next speaker, please.
Hazel Watson.
People sleep here because it is a uniquely safe place to sleep. You cannot continue to reduce the spaces where people can be and expect them to disappear. We should be redirecting the money spent on harassment, property destruction, and jail cells to be used to build affordable housing.
Next speaker is Margie Miller.
We have a problem to solve, and the problem isn't the middle class and upper middle class people who have a air-conditioned home to go to and a soft bed to sleep in, who are maybe uncomfortable or offended at the sight of people sleeping on the sidewalk. The problem is that we have people that have to sleep on the sidewalk. And if you take away this tiny crumb that we've dropped from our very heavily laden table, the only thing we've given these people, we're better than that. Please don't do this.
Thank you for your comments. Rebecca Hughley, then Sally Shapiro.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Huey, and I am a resident of District 4. I am in disgust of the ordinance to ban sleeping outside of City Hall. I don't care if you think it's icky, Mayor McCarty. I believe that the city has a responsibility to protect one of its most vulnerable populations. By banning people from sleeping at one of the only available spaces for them to have a little bit of protection while they are in their most vulnerable state, asleep, would be the city's failure to uphold a responsibility to protect its people. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Sally. Following. Michael Barnbaum.
Dear Lord, have our hearts hardened more than the day Jesus was born and there was no room in the inn? Have our characters devolved to the time before we emerged as reasoning, empathetic human beings? Are we living in the darkest age yet, an age where money is no longer a convenience, but a weapon to enslave humanity and destroy the earth that belongs to all of us? Our local and state developers created and maintained housing scarcity with the help of government in order for 30 years to keep their profits high. Homelessness is a man-made crisis. Why can't we deal with man-made crises the way we deal with natural disasters, end them in a timely fashion with all hands on deck? We've cured polio, made ships that land in distant planets, cars that drive themselves. I've seen them. Please, it's 4 walls, a roof, and some plumbing to give a human being safety from the elements and freedom from persecution.
Your comments, Michael Barnbaum, then Brooke Unger. Brooke.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you and address this item. I stand before you because I think that this item, as written today, needs to be tabled for approximately 45 days. So I would like to propose an intent motion to do just that, table this item for 45 days, bring it back on Tuesday, September 16th, also known as 9/16 Day, a day that people can remember to come back here, and direct staff to bring a comprehensive report to the council and the public on providing our unhoused residents and communities safe rest villages. Safe rest villages for our unhoused communities would be places that they can go where they can get a bed, get a meal, charge their device, and get a good shower in as well. Safe rest villages would be located either on empty parcels or underutilized parcels within city limits or in partnership with our partners at the County of Sacramento in unincorporated areas. That is what I propose as an intent motion tonight for your consideration, and give our unhoused community some courage, dignity, respect, and second chances so that they could thrive with everyone else that does have a roof over their home. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Brooke Unger. Following Brooke is Josh Daniels, Steve Thomason, Devin Stricker.
Hello. I am a general manager of a local hotel. It took me 7 months to get the encampment behind our hotel cleared up. During that time, our staff was assaulted. We had the homeless coming in, throwing hot water on the people that worked there. We had people yelling racial slurs at the people that work there. I'm responding to weekly reviews from people who are coming to the city to stay at our hotel, who say, oh, I didn't even want to drive in because of the homeless in the area. I don't think that City Hall should be a priority. I think the priority should be the businesses and the employees that are suffering because DCR can't figure out a effective way to clear encampments to put homeless people in another area. I don't think my staff and our business should suffer because we all have to rely on DCR. And they are allowing people to camp overnight. So I don't know what the ordinance was saying where people aren't allowed to sleep between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. on the sidewalk. They're very much allowed to do that in the district that our hotel resides. So I don't know where you guys are getting that data. People can't even walk to nearby restaurants with their children because they're getting harassed. So I don't see why City Hall should be a priority and the businesses should take a back seat. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Josh Daniels, then Steve Thomason.
Hello, and thank you for your time and the opportunity to speak in front of you. My name is Josh Daniels, and I'm both a business owner in the River District and a resident living just a few blocks away from City Hall. I want to address the proposal and the potential impacts that it has on enforcement throughout the city. First, I urge the council to approach this issue equitably. It makes little sense to concentrate resources on or enforcement in one specific area, while the neighborhoods, some even more significantly impacted, continue to bear a disproportionate burden. Homelessness is a citywide issue. It requires a citywide solution. Our business is located within a block of Loaves and Fishes, which is at the areas most heavily affected by camping in the River District. Ironically, while the concentration of camping in that area is a direct result of Loaves and Fishes itself has a zero tolerance policy regarding camping directly on or adjacent to their property, and that enforcement stops there. Unfortunately, the surrounding community, residents, and businesses are the ones who get affected. When an organization sets itself apart from having to deal with the broader impacts on the community, it loses perspective. If this proposal is implemented without broader enforcement and supporting mechanisms in place for adjacent neighborhoods, the unintended consequences will further displace and increase pressure on surrounding areas. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Steve Thomason, then Devin Stricker, then Greta Latchin.
Thank you for your time, City Council. Appreciate it. I'm Steve Thomason. I represent property owners in the River District. And, I could have taken that slideshow that you guys did in the initial presentation and just transferred it over to our district. So we're experiencing the exact same things and the exact same concerns you are. We would like to support you on this proposal, but we'd like to see it go citywide. We'd also like to see a component for places for people to go, which we don't have to offer. So I'm going to yield because I know we're behind. Thank you.
Devin Stricker.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor. Devin Strecker, Executive Director and resident of the River District. This ordinance proposes to ban camping on City Hall, but I've been coming here since January to beg for assistance from the city to enforce its existing ordinances which ban camping on sidewalks during the day, blocking sidewalks and near schools and critical infrastructure. We've held meetings with the police department, our elected officials, and the County Department of Housing and Homeless Services, but it's only gotten worse. Now, our property and business owners are spending more of their money over and above their PBID assessments to fund a special cleaning program because of the huge negative impacts these encampments have on their businesses. We just had to order a new 20-foot dumpster to deal with the additional garbage that is left on our streets and sidewalks. It's clear that the city chooses which ordinances to enforce and where, so while I support keeping our city hall clean and safe, I'd like to see that applied citywide. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Greta, then Angela Hassel.
My name is Greta Latchin, and my husband and I own property in the River District. I do understand the need for people in City Hall who work there to feel safe. However, I would argue that all of the city needs the same protections. In the River District, most of our property owners, businesses, and residents have experienced tents and encampments outside of their businesses and residents, partially or completely blocking their properties, blocking sidewalks, and spilling into the streets. These encampments make our residents feel unsafe. They discourage customers from coming to our businesses. And the squalid conditions are not healthy or safe for anybody who is living in those conditions. It's not kind to allow these kinds of dangerous conditions. It is an admission, really, of the failure of the city and county to work together on untangling this difficult issue. That's what it is. So if you vote yes for this, please extend the same protections you wish for your employees to our employees and to residents everywhere throughout the city.
Thank you for your comments. Angela Hassel, Andrew Kramer, Emily Smet, then Alan Ash.
Good evening. My name is Angela Hassel. I'm the Executive Director of Sacramento Loaves and Fishes, and we strongly oppose this ordinance. This ordinance will once again take away spaces of rest for our unhoused neighbors while further criminalizing homelessness, a policy choice that has never been successful. This ordinance will contribute to setting us back decades in homeless policy work. The chatter amongst our guests at Loaves and Fishes today was all about this ordinance. Folks said, "Where do they expect me to sleep? Nowhere is safe. I will probably go sleep there anyway because I have nowhere else to go. And I thought I was safe at City Hall." I hope the words of the people most affected by the decision before you can truly sink in. Since the Grants Pass Supreme Court decision, the city of Sacramento has aggressively enforced camping bans by sweeping camps, ticketing, fining, and arresting people for having no safe place to sleep. This ordinance will contribute to more harm to those already indefensible acts of cruelty and place people further away from any semblance of safety, rest, and stability, which is what we all want for ourselves and for everybody, the rest of our community. We see firsthand every day hundreds of people impacted by these damaging policies and hear their stories of torment, broken trust, and despair in the face of unnecessary legal consequences. They're just trying to exist. When will we stop punishing our most vulnerable citizens merely for living in poverty that they have no option but to sleep on the streets? This is the first piece of policy around homelessness that the new council will vote on. That context is not lost on those of us who are service providers and advocates. I urge each of you to have the courage to lead by voting no. I urge you to stand up for our unhoused neighbors and allow them the dignity of some spaces to rest at City Hall, as minimal as that may be. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Andrew Kramer.
I live in District 4, and I am opposed to this ordinance revision. Each of you were elected, particularly you, Mayor McCarty, to address arguably the most significant issue in Sacramento, homelessness. This ordinance is a waste of city resources and does nothing to address the problem. Even worse, it appears that the real intent of this ordinance is to move the unhoused people away from you and City Hall so that you can better ignore the underlying problems. Mayor McCarty, you have some reasonable ideas, such as increasing the supply of tiny homes. Instead of working to find sites and the funding to construct and operating them, you are wasting time and city resources on this fake solution. Banning unhoused city residents from City Hall, where they can find some minimal shelter and security, can best be described as intentionally cruel and shameful. I urge you to reject this ordinance revision and to redirect your efforts toward real solutions for the unhoused.
Thank you for your comments. Emily Smet, then Alan Osh, then Clay Buchanan.
Good evening, Council. My name is Emily Smet. I am the co-chair of the Sacramento chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America. And before I begin my statement, I just want to shame some of the business owners in the River District for slandering one of the great institutions in Sacramento, Loaves and Fishes, one of the only organizations that has the bravery to do what's right and to help the people in our community, a certain bravery that is lacking on the City Council. And I also want to bring the Council's attention to Donald Trump's recent executive order, so-called Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets. This order directly targets our unhoused neighbors and aims to make it illegal to exist as a human being in public and gives governments the authority to further criminalize and brutalize the most vulnerable people in our community. With this ordinance, I am disgusted that the mayor and council are aligning themselves with Trump's fascistic and fundamentally anti-human agenda on the unhoused. And that's something that I hope you all can agree, that we are living in fascist times, and when you align yourselves with that, I don't know what else to call you. Obviously, we're all living in a precarious and scary time. Cuts to essential services, including Medicare and Medicaid, economic inflation, and record housing costs are pushing us all into more precarity and homelessness. Not only are your policies needlessly cruel, they are ineffective at helping people find housing, safety, or help. You can't simply tell people where they can't be without providing a safe place for them to be. So I urge you to act with compassion and intelligence, and to listen to the people who spend more time at this building than you do, and to please vote no on this ordinance.
Comments? Alan Osh.
Hi, I oppose this, and I'm with my community members who have compassion and care for those who are most vulnerable. My mother was homeless for many years, and I know firsthand what it's like to be a family member of somebody struggling like that. And I think that probably is true for you guys and many of the folks out here. So we need to reach deeper into our hearts and do better. And I like the idea of you guys proposing an actual systemic solution, housing and health care for these folks who need it most. I don't think this is what you guys want to truly do. So thanks and good luck.
Thanks for your comments. Clay Buchanan. Following Clay is Elizabeth DeForest, then Tiffany Clark.
Hello, I'm Alan Ash, chair of the Sacramento ACLU chapter, which opposes this ordinance because it criminalizes sleeping, sitting, and lying down in another public place, and these are basic necessary human behaviors for the unhoused. This ordinance jailing the unhoused does nothing to solve our housing crisis, but only punishes its victims. Sacramento is the capital of a state facing a housing displacement crisis that has been decades in the making. Local governments across the state have responded to this crisis not by providing the resources needed to address Californians' unmet housing needs, but with discriminatory animus directed at unhoused community members. Local governments have discriminated against unhoused people by harassing, citing, segregating, banishing, and confining them, withholding life-saving public services from them, and targeting the organizations that try to help them. These cruel policies deprive people of necessary bodily requirements like rest, sleep, and sanitation, separate them from life-saving resources like food, water, and health care, segregate them in often unsanitary and abusive mass shelters and jails away from family, loved ones, and animal companions. These tactics threaten the health, well-being, and lives of unhoused people. All levels of government must do their part to end the violently discriminatory policies and practices proliferating across California. As the state capital, Sacramento should be a leader in compassionate policies, providing resources, not a leader in directing discriminatory animus at unhoused community members. Please reject this purely punitive ordinance and choose compassion for all the members of our Sacramento community. Thank you.
Here is Clay Buchanan.
My name is Elizabeth DeForest, and I'm a homeowner in Mansion Flats. I walked here. I have been to boot camp in this park, so I know that City Hall is a safe place. It's well patrolled. It's well lit. I feel safe here. Your data showed 196 calls to 911 last year, but the number of calls is not the same thing as the number of crimes. City data notes only a handful of crimes against personal safety on this property. It's already illegal to block entrances, so claiming that this is a protection of wildfire access to critical infrastructure doesn't really stand up. The presence of poverty does not make a well-patrolled, well-lit space unsafe for city workers or emergency access. It makes it uncomfortable. The fact City Hall is a safe space is why people who have nowhere else to go seek to be here. Poverty is uncomfortable for people who witness it. It is more uncomfortable for people who live it. Being uncomfortable is hard, and I don't like cleaning up trash and feces from my yard either. But being uncomfortable is not the same as being unsafe. But being poor, that is often the same as being unsafe. Shunting off poverty to somewhere else does not make public spaces safer. It makes poor people less safe because they will now be sleeping in places that are not well patrolled or well lit. The women and men who sleep outside seek safe spaces to avoid rape, robbery, and other abuses. Rape, robbery, and other abuses. A deputy sheriff working with homeless people told KCRA last year, "We can almost confidently say that 100% of them have been victims of some type of theft, some type of assault." Your choice tonight then is between giving already safe people a little more comfort or allowing poor, uncomfortable people a little more safety. Please vote for public safety. Please vote no.
Thank you for your comments. Clay Buchanan.
Good evening. I'm Clay Buchanan. I'm the Vice President of Sacramento City Exempt Employees Association, representing over 150 employees within the city. I don't personally work here at City Hall, but I have heard a lot of comments and complaints from our members that do work here, and I have the obligation to speak up for them. They do not feel safe coming here. They reported being bitten by dogs, bitten by humans, male unhoused, exposing themselves to them. There's been several incidents where they don't feel safe. They voiced it to us. I'm going to leave it at that because I know you guys' time is valuable, but we support passing this and moving this forward. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Tiffany Clark, then Soing Bon, then Keon Bliss.
Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening, Mayor McCarty, council members, staff. Sacramento attorney and independent policy advocate Tiffany Clark here I forgot what I was going to say, to really invite you all to think about what you're doing, to think about the fact that we could be pursuing a progressive business operations tax reform to significantly increase resources to help, not punish, our neighbors in need. It's easy to think in terms of us versus them, but the reality is that by pursuing and providing safety for our homeless neighbors, we are increasing the livability for ourselves and for our community. So I encourage you all to think about pursuing revenue options to increase our ability to help our neighbors and not punish them. Compounding levels of stress, fear, and misery that most of us can only begin to imagine. So I do hope you vote no on this ordinance and rethink the approach. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Soing. First name is Soing. And then Keon Bliss.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay? My name is Soing Ban, she, her pronoun, Asian woman, short hair. And I'm here as a private citizen, as a Midtown resident, and as a mother. My child is right over there. And I might get a little emotional while I'm here, but there is so much fear and so much violence right now in the outer world that I'm hoping, I can't control what's happening out there. But I'm really hoping that in my hometown, in Sacramento, we can be a beacon of compassion and a beacon of love for folks who are Sacramento residents, who are part of the city of Sacramento. People who are unhoused are also part of our community. So I want to leave a better place for my child, and I want him to witness. And I brought him here today. He did not want to come. You know, he'd rather be somewhere else than here. But I brought him here in hopes that you can make this decision and show younger folks that we are different than what's going on out there. We're different than what's happening in the federal level, that we actually care about our residents and we take care of our residents. No one should sleep on cold concrete in the cold, in the heat. let alone being criminalized for doing so. I think if the solution to move people solved homelessness, we would have solved it a long time ago. I have had conversations with people who are in the house who don't sleep at residences, who don't sleep at businesses, who hide away in levees, and yet they're flushed out. Water levels, so there's no place for them to go. Even when they try to be away, try to be out of sight and out of mind, they're still being punished. So I understand from the reporting that there's money costs for all these things. It's going to continue if we move people away. The solution is housing. The solution is housing, meaning people won't be out in the streets, people won't be in front of residences, people won't be in front of City Hall.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Keon Bliss, then Ron Hochbaum. Keon Bliss, Ron Hochbaum, Katie Makamo, AJ Albino.
Serious question for those of y'all that are backing this ordinance. Do you find it hard to hide the fact that you hate poor people? I know your NIMBY donors from the River District and the Downtown Sacramento Partnership certainly do. They come up here all the time complaining about basic quality of life issues that have nothing to do with public safety. And I certainly agree that staff safety is important, and no one is safer than city staff at City Hall based on the Department of Justice's crime data and the cherry-pick data, even in the staff report, that show that crime is overwhelmingly going down, and there were few incidents of crime that happened in justifying this ordinance. But I think this isn't about actually making our city staff safer. It's really about making those of y'all who just are uncomfortable more comfortable, and you're willing to enact gross acts of violence, including sweeping people, removing their every earthly possession they have, just to make yourselves feel more comfortable. Newsflash for you: this is not an original policy. This is what we have been doing, what cities in Sacramento and across the country have been doing for over 40 years. And you all know that. And this is just this is a long-standing history of racism, ableism, and classism banishing policies from sundown towns to beyond. When you attack homeless people with these sorts of policies, you are attacking domestic violence survivors. When you attack homeless people, you're attacking people who have been historically disenfranchised from our society, particularly black and brown people like me. When you attack homeless people, you're attacking our queer and trans kids who have been kicked out of their homes and have been forced to survive on the streets. And when you attack homeless people, you're attacking seniors whose retirement has been stolen, and you all are seriously considering charging.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Ron Hochbaum. Your time is complete. Please take your seat. Please do not disrupt the orderly conduct of meetings. You're in violation of Chapter 5 of the Council Rules of Procedure. If you continue, you'll be asked to leave the meeting. Mr. Bliss, please take your seat. Your time is complete. Mr. Bliss, please take your seat. Mr. Bliss, please take your seat. Our next speaker is Ron Hochbaum.
Good evening. My name is Ron Hochbaum, and I'm an Associate Clinical Professor of Law at the University of the Pacific McGeorge School of Law. In my poverty law class at McGeorge, I teach my students about blame theory, the false notion that people are to blame for their poverty. After that, we go on to unpack this false notion by looking at the overrepresentation of historically marginalized people among those experiencing poverty. When we look at people experiencing homelessness nationally, we see that 42% identify as Black as opposed to 14% of the general population. 30% identify as Latino or Hispanic as opposed to 20% of the general population, and 4% identify as Indigenous as opposed to 1% of the general population. We see that 57% of unhoused women report having experienced intimate partner violence or sexual assault, that 40% of homeless youth identify as LGBTQ, and 70% of unhoused people report having a disability. These disparities are also present here in Sacramento. When you know this, it's easy to understand that people are not homeless because they've made mistakes. They're unhoused because of structural inequity and our government's unwillingness to invest in the social safety net. The policy before you today is the embodiment of blame theory. invent a crime like sitting in front of City Hall, deploy the police, and stigmatize. I look at the dais and I see the faces of my clients. I see people who have in all likelihood been subject to discrimination, either because of your race, your ethnicity, your gender, your sexual orientation, or your disabilities. If that's true for you, I ask you to represent your communities and vote no. Stand up for your communities and people who are simply trying to survive in the face of structural oppression, and stop blaming them for decades of Sacramento's failed policies. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Katie McCammon. Thank you. AJ Albano, Ashley Powers Clark, Benton Bucker.
During the July 1st City Council meeting, I really appreciated Councilmember Kaplan's framing of this discussion, addressing the issue of the problem. You said the issue was on the unhoused. I'd like to clarify the issue is the availability of housing, connecting individuals to housing, and how we treat people while that housing is not yet available. The proposed ordinance is not just misaligned with addressing those issues, it's directly counterproductive. Mayor McCarty, your claims of cost savings under this ordinance is confounding. The proposal does one thing. It extends the time frame in which law enforcement can cite someone for sitting or lying at City Hall, and you are advancing a false assumption that this will result in less enforcement and therefore lower costs. I don't see the logical sense of that argument, and it's also not in line with recent history, because during your tenure in just the past 7 months, officers issued 187 citations to people sitting or lying outside of City Hall during the day, in contrast to just 2 citations that were issued in the previous 7 months. That's more than 90-fold increase. As we consider the true cost of this enforcement, 45% of those citations resulted in arrests, triggering cascading costs of arrest processing, public defense, prosecution, court operations, all of which are borne from the county and state and directly undermine their investments into helping people exit the cycle of state violence that you continue to either fail to respond to or actively perpetuate. And while city staff find these costs impossible to predict, the reality is this community and you council members should expect those costs to rise. I also want to address the proposal significantly increased human cost, the extent to which also is impossible to predict. By forcing people away from relatively safer City Hall area, the ordinance enables and promotes state-created danger. This type of enforcement triggers and worsens sleep deprivation, increases likelihood of infectious diseases.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Ashley, then Benton. Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. You have exceeded your speaking time. Please take your seat. By continuing to speak, you're disrupting the orderly conduct of the meeting and in violation of Chapter 5 of the City Council Rules of Procedure. If you do not stop, you'll be directed to leave the meeting. Ashley?
Hi, my name is Ashley Powers Clark. I am the homeless liaison for Sac City. I am speaking as a resident of District 6. I have a picture on my desk, and when I saw the announcement about this agenda item being on the council today, I just wanted to bring it here to show you. This is a picture from a student at the Mustard Seed School on the Loaves and Fishes campus. And after a sweep happened outside there, he made this drawing that said, "I hope the sweeps are done." This ordinance says so much about who we are as a city. And I think what this picture reminds me every day is that our children are watching us. They are watching us. And you all have children, and I have children. And the actions that we take today are going to say so much about who we are as a city. And I think everybody on here knows that we can show our children that we can do better and that this is not who we are. And that we need to do better, and we need to show our children that we are a compassionate city, right? That will take a moment to just think about the gravity of what this means. So I just wanted to take a moment to lift up the voices of our students and our children and to just bring this perspective for everybody to see.
next speaker is Benton, then Reginald Green.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I strongly oppose this ordinance. We are living through an affordability crisis with record levels of wealth inequality. The United States fails to support its people with barely any support for health care or stable housing. These people have no other option than to sleep on the streets. They're not there because they want to be. They're there because society is experiencing a wealth crisis or inequality crisis worse than the Gilded Age of the 1890s. Instead of helping our most vulnerable and properly funding services for them, you want to kick them while they're down. Where's your empathy? These are people. These are members of the community. These are neighbors. These are friends. These are family. And these are your constituents. Instead of providing for the city you represent and its people, you are literally sweeping the problem under the rug. If you aren't gonna fund social services, you might at least have enough compassion to let them have a safe place to sleep. City Hall, with its overhang, serves as a relatively safe spot compared to the rest of downtown Sacramento. Instead, you'd rather move the problem away from your front door so you don't have to think about it. Where is your compassion? These are people. They're struggling, and you'd rather kick them while they're down than provide any sort of solution. I know you all don't like having to see everyday people struggling, but you could at least have some dignity and fund systemic solutions that make it so people don't have to sleep outside your workplace. You'd rather side with Donald Trump than properly address the problem and provide solutions. I'm calling on you to have some compassion and vote down the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I have 20 more speakers. The next is Reginald Green, Salwa Marabi, Anthony Thomas, Moise, Ramon, Nikki Jones. Is Reginald here? Salwa, S-A-L-W-A. Thank you.
We'll come back.
Salwa.
Thank you. I am opposed. May the homeless Lord Jesus Christ, who had no place to rest his head, break our hearts for the things that break his heart. Please allow the city leaders to act with understanding and compassion to those who are truly suffering and not just those who are inconvenienced or uncomfortable. Stand up and speak up for the vulnerable. Fast and pray and humble yourself to gain true wisdom. We must be watchful during these days and times when people and policies can grow more unloving, more greedy, and more selfish. Please search your heart and do what is right. Help your brother and sister. We are all one people in the end.
Thank you for your comments. Anthony Thomas. I don't see movement. Moise. Following Moise is Ramon, Nikki Jones, and Reginald Green.
Hi, my name is Ramon, and thank you for allowing me to express myself. I'm one of the homeless people that sleep outside this building, and I do it because what they say is very secure, very safe, and not only that, but I can spend, at least part of the time with the people that I relate to right now, and hear things about them, and things like that. Now, I want to say something. Being homeless is not a choice, okay? It's a situation, it's a social situation that we just drop into. You don't know what being homeless is like, but if you want to find out, you're going to spend a week out there being a homeless person, and you see how your emotions, your fears, everything in you drops, okay? And then you're going to feel like you're not human, like you are an animal. And then to have us, being prosecuted by you guys, it's like going back to slavery. It's like we don't exist. We don't matter, okay? But we do. We humans, And at the end of the day, okay, like I say, if you want to really experiment what being homeless or homelessly, it's like do it for a week, and you're going to see. It's going to upgrade your humanity, okay? It's going to bring things to you that you didn't even know that you had as a spiritual being in this planet, okay? We are all made by the same Okay? Although we're not equal, as you can see, I'm homeless. You got your house. That's not equality. It's the opposite.
Thank you for your comments. Your
I'm
time
happy.
is complete. Our next speaker is Moyes and Nikki Jones.
Good evening. I'm speaking as a volunteer with Sunrise Movement Sacramento. We want everyone to not just feel safe, we want everyone to be safe. And unfortunately, this is not a proposal that will create safety for anyone. What year are we living in? Because I'm getting deja vu, reliving and relitigating the same faulty, illogical arguments of your predecessors that created the circumstances that we are living in today. We want to fine and arrest people for not having anywhere else to go. That's your solution, Mayor McCarty? Do you want to walk in lockstep with this federal administration and criminalize poverty? Will you choose a legacy of bending to the interests of the powerful at the expense of those most marginalized? Hostile architecture and hostile policy makes an unlivable city for every single one of us. What do solutions look like? Take a look at the 80 community members who've emailed you feedback over the past month against this proposal. Take a look at what people are doing despite your inaction to keep one another alive. People are dying on these streets. We spent this afternoon outside listening to people's lived experiences, offering food and water. I didn't spend time preparing this comment because I was spending it cooking for people. We could be spending our time tending to people. We could be spending our time caring for people. The biggest bar on that survey chart was trash accumulation just earlier in the presentation. Guess what? People generate trash. If you are housed, though, the city will come to you and take your trash away for you. What if we extended that solution to people regardless of their housing status, regardless of their economic class in this city? Bathrooms, a place to stay, trash service, solutions, the things that Mayor McCarty supposedly campaigned on. Where is he? Where are those?
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Nikki Jones and Reginald Green. Nikki Jones, Reginald Green, Rowan Krunagel, then Alicia Yaffe.
Hey, y'all. In a world facing multiple genocides, rising deep austerity, and fascism, domestically and abroad, I cannot imagine why a progressive local leader would endorse a policy that is going to limit life expectancy in their most vulnerable community. When they leave the opportunity as policymakers, when they have the opportunity as policymakers to create course-altering, life-affirming policies instead. The gap is 20 to 30 years for unhoused folks, the life expectancy gap versus their housed peers. And we are not meeting this, and we never have, like the public health crisis that it is. We've instead chosen punitive policy after punitive policy. Today's ban isn't just about the city hall, it's about how no inch of the city is safe for the thousands of people that are in all of your districts. It is about decades of policy failures, and accommodations to a deadly market ideology. It's about how this strategy is not new and finds its roots in racist, ableist, classist banishment policies of the past, sundown towns, ugly laws, anti-Okie laws, and more. It's not a coincidence that our Black and Indigenous and disabled and elderly communities face homelessness at higher rates, queer folks too. So I guess I actually can't imagine how local leaders are finding themselves flowing with the rising tide of fascism instead of standing against it. When it's been the escalating status quo for so long, it's hard to know you're in it. McCarty and the staff report align this effort with the far-right Supreme Court's Johnson v. Grants past decision and is in lockstep with Trump's hateful executive order, further demonizing, criminalizing homelessness, mental health issues, and drug use. So what is it? Are they corrupt authoritarians, or are they legal scholars you align yourself with?
Thank you for your comments. Reginald Green is our next speaker. Rowan Krunagel, Alicia Yaffe. Is Reginald here? No. Rowan? Following Rowan is Alicia Yaffe, then AE, then PJ. Just one moment, please.
Whole life, I attended Sacramento State University, advocated at the state level for better inclusion for students within the UC and CSU, and I've met some of you on this council doing that very work. Lately, my pride in the city of Sacramento has plummeted. Not for lack of effort from my community, not for lack of love for my neighbors, but from watching the city and those who run it continue to hold corporate profits and the aesthetic of an empty street above the values of the lives of the Sacramento community. Much like my fellow community members here today, I've watched homelessness rise, watched accessibility fall, and watched the subsequent response from our administration, both local and national. The response, as I've seen it, seeks to dehumanize, criminalize, and simply do away with those who might be disabled, experiencing homelessness, or in some other kind of need. This ordinance is nothing different. It seeks to dehumanize and criminalize acts of public rest, and I urge you to make the right decision. Put aside corporate ideals and center humanity instead. Vote in opposition of this ordinance. Thank you for your time, and rest is not a crime.
Thank you for your comments. Alicia?
Hi, Council. My name is Alicia Yaffe. I am a worker and resident in District 4, and I'm walking distance from here. This proposal provides no solutions and simply adds to the places you cruelly sweep from location to location, district to district, spending more and more money on contractors to sweep and steal their belongings and cite and arrest those with little resources. The report says cleaning the area outside City Hall is $97,000. The same report says you don't have any idea how much enforcing this ordinance will cost. Instead of spending absurd amounts of our tax dollars on these contractors and more police hours, we could get creative with funding affordable housing developments. We could save the money we are spending and invest in affordable housing. We could shift our investment portfolio to provide loans to local developers for affordable housing development. We've done this before with the Rancho Miguel grocery store, which paid their loan back early with interest. Not only is it immoral to take away this safer place for people to sleep, but it's in line with the new Trump executive order, Project 2025, and the far-right Johnson versus Grant decision. A personal story, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia in 2022 after losing my job to illness. It's because of my upper middle class father and my health insurance that I was able to get through him, because he paid $600 a month for it, that I was able to get better, and now here I am in California, a state worker. The source of vagrancy laws were written after Reconstruction, along with slave patrols. The vagrancy laws criminalize unemployment by forcing Black people into employment. These Black codes were passed to arrest folks for loitering and forced to work in white-owned businesses, plantations in the South.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is AE, then PJ, then LS.
Good evening, members of the council. I'm here also to oppose this ordinance. I spoke the other week about critical infrastructure as this unstable category. Just because government buildings are included in that list doesn't mean that all government buildings need to have these bans. And critical infrastructure has been this category that is just used against unhoused people. So it's not good faith. It doesn't go hand in hand with public safety. It's not the same thing as public safety at all. We also have to ask whose public safety we are concerned with. City employees were asked if they felt threatened, if they felt safe, and I think that that's great. And we need to have these conversations and figure out what real safety looks like and support each other. But are we also asking the people sleeping outside if they feel threatened, if they feel safe? Or maybe we already know that they don't. Also, cleanliness has been brought up again and again, and I think on both sides, just the answer is more public bathrooms. There are not places for people to use the bathroom, and that is not affirming of our dignity, and that's not what we deserve. And that's why there's all the costs with cleanup. It's not because there is a solution. There's a really simple solution. I'm also concerned about the downplayed enforcement costs, as a lot of people have brought up. Earlier in the presentation, we talked about how cost of policing went from $590,000 to over $1 million. It's 89% increase in police spending, and that has not led to. I don't think we can look at. I don't think there's anything. There's no justification for it. That has not led to more public safety. It's just led to more harassment of unhoused people, more displacement, more violence. What this is just people not wanting to have to interact with unhoused people. Even if we pretend to have sympathy.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. PJ, then LS, then Shelley Williams.
What you are telling the people who sleep outside here for 9 hours is not here. Kevin promised on the campaign trail that he would tell them where to go, but now it's not here. The shelter system is full. Landlords frequently refuse Section 8 by exploiting loopholes. You work hard to label more public spaces as vital infrastructure to justify sweeps without warning, destroying documents needed to access housing and services. You should read Trump's executive order. The text could have been written by many in this city. You were elected to make lives better, to bring solutions, not double down on failed policies. But no, this sounds like it was pulled verbatim from Trump's executive order criminalizing homelessness. You were in lockstep with Trump's policies in your viewing of people who need help. Harm them and then clutch your pearls when they don't trust you. You claim it's about feelings of safety. Fun fact, making them actually safe protects your feeling of safety. But that would require showing empathy, of understanding they're complicated individuals with many layers of trauma that require addressing and not just flattening them into a caricature you can dehumanize and treat as a problem to be solved. Is it the seniors' fault when Social Security can't cover rent after developers backed by your policies push housing costs up? That's their fault, right? Is it the LGBTQ youth's fault when their family abandons them despite our sanctuary city promises unless they're poor? Clearly that was a footnote no one paid attention to. Is the sexual abuse survivors' fault for fleeing abuse only to face homelessness? Maybe they should have left situations where their abuser was their sole provider, just stay there. Maybe we should have told them that we'll care for them if they have money. Is it the disabled person's fault when they may not have family or friends to support them? Should we have told them our accessibility only extends to ramps or easy opening doors, not actual things that keep them safe the rest of the time they exist? No, then we'll steal their mobility aids, take their support animals, because if you can't buy anything in our fair city, well, you don't matter. So you treat them as criminals for sleeping outside, as if a citation or failure to appear equals violence.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is LS, then Shelley Williams. LS. Following LS is Shelley Williams and Allison Lee. I have 10 more speakers.
Hi, good evening. I'm a citizen of Sacramento and I'm pissed. I cannot believe that you guys are thinking about this. This is absolutely absurd. We are supposed to be a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state under a fascist Trump regime. Are you not embarrassed? This is not what you're for. You are the representatives of us, and we are telling you these are our neighbors, these are our loved ones, these are our friends. Grow a spine. If you don't have compassion, that's totally fine. Store-bought works just as well. But you have the money to do that. I myself have never been unhoused, thank God. But I have loved so many people who have been. Have you? Have you, McCarty? No, I didn't think so. The universe shows its true face when it asks for help, and we show ours by how we respond. I'm embarrassed that you are the mayor. I'm ashamed to be one of your constituents. Do you understand that? I love California. I love Sacramento. I love living here. I am a child care worker, and every single weekend I am out feeding our unhoused neighbors. Every weekend. I have checked the pulse on a dead body of a man I fed the week prior because I care. You should not be in this position if you don't.
Next speaker is Shelley.
Hi, Hi, Shelley Williams, District 5. I want to start by thanking Council Members Vang, Kaplan, and my Council Member Maple for your votes and your words the last time this was brought up, and for my Council Members' engagement as I've been talking with her office. Your leadership really matters here, and I hope that you all are still holding the line on this. As the person probably in this room who spent the most time with that staff report, I have so many things I want to say, but unfortunately I feel a responsibility to kind of expose what a hack job it was. Like others said, it did not address the really big question that was brought up by multiple council members about the cost of enforcement. That's a huge thing that you should have some kind of answer for, and it was so much more concerning to see that it was basically like more questions. And so I don't think a vote should move forward until there is a more substantive answer to that question. Or never, but whatever, we're doing our best out here. Mayor McCarty's whole rationale was that about the cost of cleaning. And you claimed that it was $300,000 a year, but your own staff report showed it was only $97,000 per year. And then they added security costs to bolster that to get it to $200,000. But the 300 was pulled out of thin air. I just want to make sure everyone knows that. So the flimsy cost-saving argument falls apart, especially considering this body recently greenlit unlimited overtime to SAC PD to enforce every new ordinance that comes out, which now covers the entire city. This is the last safe place where anyone is allowed to legally sleep. I also read the survey in detail. So many issues with the methodology, but I want to say that in the last general open-ended question, the only one that was not leading and biased, about 1 in 6 were not only, it wasn't just like some people are empathetic, people were disgusted. People in this building, 1 in 6 were disgusted, but with your proposal, and most of the.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Allison Lee. Your time is complete. Allison Lee, then Sarah.
Good evening, members of the Sacramento City Council. My name is Allison Lee, and I'm here on behalf of Region Business, a coalition of 40-plus local CEOs committed to positioning Sacramento as California's economic powerhouse through bold and innovative policy leadership. We express our strong support for the proposed modification to the city's critical infrastructure ordinance, which would prohibit illegal camping and sleeping outside City Hall. This important initiative safeguards public safety, accessibility, and the essential operations of our city government. City Hall is not just a building, it's the heart of civic life in Sacramento, yet today, the surrounding environment often feels unsafe and unpredictable. This ordinance is not about criminalizing people in need, it's about acknowledging that public spaces must remain safe and functional for everyone. By enforcing these rules, the city can better maintain order and direct resources toward effective solutions rather than managing ongoing disruptions. To those criticizing the ordinance as unfair or cruel, it's important to recognize that homelessness is primarily the responsibility of the county, not the city. The city's role should remain focused on local governance, infrastructure, and the enforcement of laws that protect community well-being. Shifting city resources to handle county responsibilities like homelessness services stretches staff thin, drains budgets, and reduces effectiveness across the board. It weakens both the city's ability to serve its residents and the county's capacity to address important issues, ultimately creating more problems in the long run. If opponents want real change, their energy would be better directed where it can make a difference at the county's next Board of Supervisors meeting on August 5th at 9:30 a.m. Thank you for your time and for your continued commitment to a safer, more functional Sacramento.
Thank you for your comments. I want to remind members of the audience, please do not disrupt the disorderly conduct of these proceedings by continuing to speak out from the audience. You're in violation of Chapter 5 of the City Council Rules of Procedure, and if you continue to shout out from the audience, you'll be asked to leave the meeting. Our next speaker is Sarah, Grovey, Amanda, Linda Roberts, then Les Light.
Hello, my name is Sarah. I'm a co-director at an organization that provides outreach to people experiencing homelessness. Every day, I see how unhoused people are expected to be superhuman. They are expected to be invisible. to exist in a way where they will never be seen by politicians, by business owners, and by City Hall employees. They must have superhuman strength, because even when they haven't had food or water or sleep in days, they must still be able to carry all of their belongings on their person to new locations day after day when they get swept. Or they must simply be invincible and able to survive heat waves and storms and floods and assaults without any belongings at all. Unhoused people are expected to teleport because their vehicle got towed in a sweep and because they better not be dodging fares on the bus or the light rail, but they're still expected to be going to work and to be going to shelters that don't have beds for them anyways. Unhoused people are expected not to generate trash and to never have to go to the bathroom. They better not go pee or poop on the sidewalk, but also better not use bathrooms in businesses or parks which are locked to keep them out anyways. And they are expected to survive without water because the park water fountains are shut off and the water delivery program was defunded, and they'll be charged with utility larceny if they tap into a fire hydrant. But of course, they're still expected to bathe regularly without water, and they certainly can't use public transportation or be in public space if they don't smell good. They better stay awake at all times because they can't lay down. Not in parks, not in neighborhoods, not on empty streets, and not on City Hall grounds either. But they better not use drugs to stay awake, and they better not use drugs for any reason, no matter how much trauma and physical pain is thrust upon them. The National Homeless Law Center has ranked Sacramento as one of the 5 most punitive cities for people experiencing homelessness in the country. That's our legacy. And I know that firsthand because I promise you I've seen it literally 100 times the amount of tow trucks and cop cars and bobcats out there in encampments than housing navigators that can provide actual options. Let people rest, vote against this.
Thank you for your comments. Grovey? Grovey?
Sorry.
And then Amanda.
In the language of this proposal, you've described the people who sleep outside of City Hall as a safety concern. But last meeting, Mayor McCarty said you should talk to the guy who cleans up on Mondays and ask him how it smells. I believe that the safety of everyone is important, but I feel that the discomfort of being near trash and waste is a less pressing safety issue than the issue that the folks sleeping outside this building are facing. I would like to invite you to imagine how unsafe you would feel if you could not use any public or private restroom. I would like to invite you to imagine having no walls to protect your personal items, to protect your body as you change, as you sleep. Is it possible that you, Mr. Mayor, may actually be much more safe than these people that you feel are a threat to you? Is it possible that because you have a home and belongings and a savings account and a bathroom, that you may be safer than an individual who has none of these things? So I think it's very important to distinguish between the things that threaten your comfort versus the things that actually threaten your safety. So how will we address the real safety threat, which is the danger that it is to be a person living on the street? Because currently there's nothing for folks, nowhere to go. I would like to see a real solution to these harms and these dangers, but this proposal is not that. Will a fine or a citation really help someone get off the streets and get a job or a place to live? I ask you to please not pass this proposal, and instead I would like to invite you to be curious about and invested in the safety of your most vulnerable community members so they can get what they need to get off the streets and be somewhere safe, and so you don't have to smell doo-doo on your way to work, so we all win. Because as it stands, this proposal only addresses one issue, your discomfort, your safety. I would like to invite you to find different solutions that address the needs of the whole community that you have been elected to serve, not just yourselves.
I have 6 more speakers. The next is Amanda.
Yeah, that's me. Can I go? Thank you to Mai, Katie, and Lisa for taking a stance based in facts and morality. I hope that other council members will change their mind and reject this. Also, to the disgruntled business and homeowners who spoke, NIMBYs, who spoke in support of further criminalizing homelessness and erasing unhoused folks, y'all have a sickness in your hearts, and I hope that y'all get care because you're the ones that have access to it. This is a statement that a community member outside asked me to read. The people have a right to substance, as in shelter and equal protection. You have veterans, elderly women, and children living in despair, and you have the means to end the crisis. Exactly. There has been no shortage of facts testimonies, pleas, and solutions brought to y'all today. If or when you reconnect with your conscience and humanity, you will not be able to claim you didn't know that the decisions you make in your comfy chamber chairs, offices, and homes result in death and destruction for the residents of the city y'all are supposed to be representing. You're spineless, mindless, delusional automatons fueled by your desire to hoard power and money and lord it over the rest of us who fight for basic resources. What version of hell is next for the folks living on our streets? You move them from one area to the next where they only get swept again and again until what? They eventually die out there? We know that that happens, but y'all are so deeply committed to turning away from human suffering that you can't even accept facts. Where are these people supposed to go? They certainly aren't offered actual housing. Like other folks have said, the people who show up at City Hall do so to find safety. Trying to erase folks experiencing homelessness is absolutely a genocide. Y'all are monsters and you don't even have to be. You choose it again and again through the stances you take and the policies you enact. I wish for you what you wish for those living on the streets, that you go away and don't come back. Excluding my, Katie, and Lisa, oh wait, I forgot. I hexed some of y'all before, and wouldn't you know, I did it again. Excluding my, Katie, and Lisa, may the rest of you not know peace, comfort, or safety until you get it.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Linda, then Les.
I'm L.R. Roberts. I have been part of Occupy. I live in Oak Park, and I run a business there, and I raise my kids there. We used to have 54 people sleep here during Occupy. We have done the community dinner project since then. I do it without calling the cops. We provide food and encourage people to attend these meetings, and we talk about the issues. I have trouble cleaning up since you got rid of the garbage can. And the reason why you got rid of the garbage can is there was a lady who was having a mental health crisis. Well, that has been resolved. She is fine. Bring the garbage can back. When somebody does not dispose of their garbage, I just don't serve them anymore, and they straighten up. Rick and I took in homeless folks for decades, and over we found folks had disabilities. Did our city really just throw away somebody's wheelchair? We should have a rent control. We should do something about the vacant buildings I see everywhere, and I'm going to try to take pictures of them and bring them in. For example, KJ was given 50 SHRA properties for free in Oak Park. One of them is vacant near me. They swept somebody up in front of it today because he was just sleeping there.
Les and then Jade.
Okay, from the Sacramento Valley Tenants Association. The housing and unhoused policy pursued by the offices of the city manager, mayor, and the city council has generated and maintained our appalling levels of unhoused in our city. And now you find it distasteful to see and apprehend the harm you make. This is shameful. We don't see how displacing people seeking primary refuge on the grounds here will not heal or ameliorate any of the issues some staff cite to. You only move the issues to places where the issues will be much worse. Your survey makes relevant note of infrastructure. Yes, what about the infrastructure, as in public bathrooms and water for those who are unhoused? As your affluent property owners speak of their grievances of the unhoused, I ask that they appreciate that they profit in the rising property values in a system that forces more and more people out of housing and onto the street. If you drive and profit by creating homelessness, how can you complain about the situation you create so thoughtlessly and brutally?
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Jade. I have three more speakers: Jade, Dr. Flo Kofer, and Tori Lorette.
Hello, my name is Jade. I'm here to advocate for unhoused women, many who have no choice but to call City Hall their home. The current homeless system fails to protect the safety and dignity of women experiencing homelessness. I speak from lived experience. In my first year in the system from 2023 to 2024, I experienced 3 near-death experiences. Being hit by a drunk driver that was street racing. He was undocumented, uninsured, and no driver's license. Following the injuries from my accident, I was diagnosed with a fatal thyroid cancer that I recently just recovered from. I slept in the parking lot of UC Davis because that's where I was getting my cancer treatment, and I knew that I had the privilege to be safe there. Because I was a patient, I wouldn't be criminalized, and I could sleep there while waiting for the housing referral to be processed. I finally got an apartment. I was housed for 4 months. I came home from cancer surgery, and my apartment exploded. From negligence, the fire came from our on-site property manager's unit. Our apartment was owned by a former police chief of San Francisco and a current Bay Area mayor. Over 50 of us were displaced. I barely got out alive. I only got out because I had a best friend that was there. The fire was in my bedroom where I was sleeping. I was heavily sedated. I told her to shut the door and go back to sleep. After that, I was kicked out of a nonprofit. I call them the $1 Billion Pimps. They're one of the main NGOs. Their current CEO gets $995,000 a year and over $2 billion in funding.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Dr. Flo Kofer, then Tori Lorette.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here before you because I'm sad. I just want to be honest about that, right? I'm sad because I think our city can do so much better than this. I watched every single one of you when you campaigned for the office that you're in right now. And none of you promised us that you were going to sweep people away from the place they are with nowhere to go. In fact, Mayor McCarty, you specifically said that you would not sweep people away without having a place to go, and that's exactly what this policy does. So I want to appeal to your humanity. I want you to vote no on this tonight, not because I want you to disregard what your employees are saying, but because I want to encourage you to be more creative than this. Solutions are what we're looking for, not harming people. And if any of you have been on your Instagram or your TikTok crying about the fact that we had ICE at Home Depot and how inhumane that is, I want you to also consider the internal consistency with how inhumane this is. People come here because they feel safe, despite the fact that there seems to be a general hatred of people who are poor. They sleep here at night because there's lights, and because they know there are going to be eyes here, and because they're not going to be subject to violence in front of City Hall. They're here because you're here. And so the idea that you have nowhere for people to go, you've closed Camp Resolution, you've closed this, you've swept people away constantly, it's just inhumane. This is not what human beings should do to each other. No, we're not the county, and absolutely we should ask them to do more in this situation. But you are the city of Sacramento. You do have a $1.5 billion budget. You do have the ability to be able to think more critically than this. You do have the ability to do better than this. And so I'm encouraging you all to vote no, to go back to the table, to listen to the people who are heartbroken about this and who want solutions, not more punishment. Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Tori Lorette. I'm proud to live in beautiful Oak Park, Sacramento, in Councilmember Maple's district. I am an attorney and professor at McGeorge School of Law, where I work in the Pocola Family Homeless Advocacy Clinic and teach local government law. My career has been dedicated to promoting and protecting the rights of unhoused individuals and decriminalizing homelessness. I'm here joining the chorus of voices of your constituents asking you to oppose this dangerous, uncreative ordinance. Banning life-sustaining activities in front of City Hall is profoundly and ironically anti-democratic. This ban creates insurmountable barriers to civic participation for those who need your support the most. This proposed ordinance continues America's racist, ableist, and deeply harmful traditions of geographic banishment against people with less privilege. Historically, we've seen sundown towns that expelled Black residents, anti-Okie laws during the Depression targeting poor migrants, and vagrancy statutes used to control freed slaves after the Civil War. These exclusionary practices have consistently failed and caused immense generational lasting harm. We're fortunate to speak of those laws as relics of the past, yet this ordinance resurrects those shameful traditions here in California's capital city, building on the far right's nationwide trend to disappear and criminalize people simply because they do not own or rent property. The city justifies this proposal with a survey wherein city employees noted they witnessed litter, bowel movements, unattended property, and loitering, which is also known as simply existing. It is truly difficult and upsetting to bear witness to the tragedy of poverty. I know this, my comrades know this, and my friends on the street know this more than any of you. The answer is not to banish my friends from sight, to fine them to oblivion, or incarcerate them. To change these
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Mayor, I have no more speakers on this item.
Yep. Let me go first. First of all, thank you, public, for participating. We knew this was an emotional topic, and I appreciate the respectful dialogue. And as you'll see, we have divergent opinions up here, just like we have divergent opinions throughout the community of Sacramento. Not everybody has your same opinion, and so our job is to act accordingly, do what's in our best interest, and focus on moving Sacramento forward. And this is something that I just want to paint the picture. Some of you say, why is this even on the council agenda? Do we? I think we're out of public speakers.
Yeah, I have called all the slips.
Yeah. Were you called and missed? Okay, continue. So when I came here my first day as mayor, I didn't know that we had this exemption, because 20 years ago we had adopted an ordinance that says in the Occupy era, as Linda noted, that we didn't think City Hall was an appropriate place for camping. And so we have no camping at city facilities all across our community, from the George Sims Center to the Thomas Community Center to Clooney Clubhouse. We certainly have these rules in effect at the state capitol where I worked for 10 years. The county, which as noted, has the budget to address homelessness, 10 times the budget of the city of Sacramento for homelessness, behavioral health issues. So we have these locations where essentially overnight camping is not allowed. And we had a carve out here at City Hall. I just thought, that doesn't make sense because we have people that come to work here every day. When I started in December, I talked to some people who were coming here in the morning, coming to work. And some of the stories I heard were real. It wasn't just the inconvenience of smelling urine, walking over people. That is uncomfortable, but that's not the real issue. The real issue is safety. We have reports here from individuals being attacked by knives. We have reports of individuals being threatened by somebody naked and we have reports, excuse me, you had your turn to talk. We had reports of...
Point of order.
Point of order.
City Clerk, there's people shouting from the audience. If this continues, we'll have to pause. Thank you. I just do want to remind the audience, do not disrupt the orderly conduct of these proceedings by continuing to speak out from the audience. You're in violation of Chapter 5 of the City Council Rules of Procedure. If you continue, you'll be directed to leave the meeting.
And if you see from the police reports, they're not trivial calls. One report in May about several months ago, a male brandishing a knife, threatening gestures toward a City Hall employee as she was leaving work. A domestic violence account right here of individuals right outside the sleep grounds. One individual was raped in a tent right outside City Hall right here. These are incidents right outside City Hall. So this is not something that's appropriate being in our City Hall, especially when people are trying to go to work. So this is part of a larger piece of the puzzle. And I will note that that, is Mr. Barnbaum still here? I have some good news for you, Mr. Barnbaum. You can stay there, but I will speak directly to you. On the 16th of September, known as 916 Day, is a day you requested we come back with a comprehensive discussion on homelessness as it's related to housing and what we do going forward. Your answer is heard, and we will be hearing that item on the 16th of September. We'll be coming back from a few months ago. We had a homelessness workshop talking about tiny home sites and micro villages throughout the city of Sacramento on multiple locations. That is a piece of the puzzle. One of the things that was noted here tonight is we do spend roughly $300,000 a year cleaning up outside of City Hall. We are going to redirect all that money to expand these tiny home locations with the money from the current year. We're also going to. I was very touched by the individual. I don't see him here. He was speaking when I had to step outside to use the restroom real quick. He was talking about how he sleeps outside City Hall. So we know by name roughly a dozen or so regulars who sleep here at City Hall. Over the next 30 days, as this ordinance will be implemented, we're going to go to those individuals and offer them a place to go. Because I do concur that we need to enforce the law and not allow urban camping in our city parks, our public places, our libraries, and City Hall. At the same time, we need to do better at offering places where people can go. So on the 16th of September, we are going to be coming back with our efforts to really increase it. I will note that this law about no camping has been in effect since roughly 2018-ish. And since 2018, when Councilmember Guerra and Jennings were on the City Council, we roughly had 0, essentially, city-funded homeless spots. We're now up to almost 2,000, which is remarkable. And it should not be the city's business doing this. It should be the county. But the city says, you know what? We can't just ignore it. We're going to step up. We're going to use our state money we've gotten for the last 5 years. Plus, we dip in the general fund every year and make a choice to not fund other programs, to fund homelessness programs. Because I think it is our collective responsibility. We're all in this together, the city, the county, the federal government, and the state. We're all part of the equation. But there has to be some balance. There has to be some balance. There has to be some common sense. We already have acknowledgement that certain places, people are not allowed to sleep. You're not allowed to sleep at many locations throughout the city of Sacramento. This just puts that in accord with existing policies throughout the city of Sacramento. This is something I think the time has come. With that, I'll be asking for an aye recommendation on city staff reports. With that, Councilmember Vang.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I just want to take time to thank all the residents who came out today to speak in opposition of the proposal that's before us, and those who also came today to speak in support. As I shared 3 weeks ago, everyone deserves the right to rest, to shelter from heat and rain, especially with the climate crisis. We know that's going to be a hot summer. This ordinance, for me, doesn't solve the issue of homelessness. It simply is a policy that just moves people around. The city data in particular did not compel me to change my vote differently, but I did appreciate staff responding to the survey, and I will be responding to that in a little bit. In the staff report in particular, it was noted in terms of general complaints to 311 that we did see a decrease from 2003 to 2004 to even 2005. So I just want to acknowledge that the data also shares regarding the general complaint to 311 that has gone down. One of the questions that I did have regarding the incidents that were shared was that, and this question is for Lainey or for city staff, is of the incidents that were reported, did they occur during the day or did they occur during non-operational hours between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m.? I think that's also an important distinction, because if the crimes that are being reported is happening during the day and not when people are sleeping, I think it says a lot, because we're literally just what this proposal does in front of us is ban people from resting. And so I think having the distinction data on that is going to be really important. I don't know if we have the answer to that, but I just wanted to raise that. And then the other piece I want to just hold space for is that I want to take this moment to speak to our city employees, the 300 plus folks that did respond to the survey, and especially those that mentioned that they didn't feel safe in the survey. I believe it was noted that 4 out of 10 employees have experienced or perceived threatened situations. And I think one of the speakers, said it best. That really spoke to me is that being uncomfortable is very different from being actually safe. And I think it's important that highlighting the distinction between feeling uncomfortable and being unsafe is really critical, because it is an important difference to understand, because when we conflate the two, what ends up happening is that we actually have negative consequences for those that are most vulnerable. And then I also want to read a statement from the survey from some of our staff that was actually aggressively, in opposition to what mayor and council was going to vote on tonight. So I actually wanted to uplift this voice from one of our employees. I do not support this effort, and I don't think this will have any meaningful impact on homelessness or unhoused folks in our community. It just takes away a safe space for them and forces them out of our sight. I hope the city will consider a human-centered approach when making this decision, which includes those who are unhoused. Discomfort does not mean a lack of safety. Choosing to do this sends a message to our employees about whose lives and comfort are prioritized. This feels like a very out-of-sight, out-of-mind approach. And I wanted to share that because that was one of our city employees, and he or she or they wanted the mayor and council and the public to understand where they were coming from. I also just want to share that, 5 days ago, Trump signed an executive order to actually expand the use of state-sanctioned violence, to use our local police officers and institutions to actually respond to homelessness. And he made it very clear that he will prioritize funding for states that treat poverty and homelessness as a crime. And in this moment now, more than ever, it's so important that that we as local elected officials who represent the people of Sacramento, that we do everything we can to hold the line at the local level. And that means making sure that we don't align ourselves with his agenda. This policy does nothing to build housing. This policy does nothing to treat the health of our neighbors. And this policy does not address the root causes of the crisis that we see on our streets. And we should be focused on more solution-based proposal. Our community is most safe when we are focused on housing, when we are focused on wraparound services for our community, not criminalizing poverty. And I also want to add, just because we have federal and county buildings around us that has a similar policy, it doesn't make it right. And we shouldn't confuse legality with morality. I think that's really important. Lastly, I also just want to urge my colleagues as they take their vote tonight. Earlier today, we also presented a resolution to celebrate Disability Pride Month. And I want to note that over 50% of our unhoused neighbors in the city and across the country has a disability. People with disabilities experience homelessness at a rate that is 2.5 times higher than the overall population in the US, right? And so I think it's really important that when we pass resolution, when we make presentations, when we talk the big talk about addressing homelessness, we really need to take a look at ourselves, the ways in which we govern, and making sure that it truly reflects the people and their needs. So lastly, I just want to say, until we actually have a process in place to ensure that we have a safe place for folks to rest, to shelter, and to be housed, until we have a comprehensive strategy that, yes, also includes the county, because the city can't do this alone. We've been stepping up. We need all hands on deck. But until we have a comprehensive strategy, I can't support the current change to the ordinance because it doesn't address the root causes. And because of that, I'll be voting no on this item.
Councilmember Pluckybaum?
Thank you. We're often asked, where is it appropriate to sleep if you don't have shelter? And emphatically, it is not our parkways, our parks, our commercial zones, our industrial zones, or City Hall. It is where it is appropriate to have residential housing. With that, I'll open and close the public hearing and move staff recommendation.
Councilmember Maple?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. You know, I had some questions related to data. And, well, first I want to say thank you. I know that we had a lot of questions during the last hearing about this, and I really want to appreciate the quick action by staff to actually get answers to those questions. I don't want to gloss over that. I know it took time to ask their opinions, and I think, you know, how our staff feel at City Hall is important. But, you know, I think Councilmember Vang did a really good job of highlighting some of the concerns that I have. So I want to focus on something else. On Friday of last week, our Continuum of Care, which is the entity that does all of our homelessness planning for actually the whole county, so Sacramento County, Sacramento City, and all the other cities within our county, held their annual meeting. And I was in a room with a handful of other electeds from around the county, but mostly service providers, people who are boots on the ground doing work in this space every day. And it was a wonderful discussion in so many ways, because a lot of people were being very honest about the situation that they're seeing on the ground. And I felt really privileged to be there, because I think it's important for us as leaders to understand what's happening on the ground in order for us to be able to put policies in place that make sense. And what I heard from these individuals, and by the way, many of these organizations get money from the city or the county or some other space, and they had some fear around sharing openly. I received messages from them like, I don't know if I want to, which, you know, is another problem that we need to probably have a discussion about, but I appreciated the ones that were honest. And they said the number one problem that we're seeing, period, is that we don't have throughput. It is the biggest elephant in the room. We do not have enough places for people to go. We don't have enough housing. We don't have enough shelter beds. We don't have enough programming. And we all know that too. And so for me, that really spoke to me about the level of priority for us and for me. And it's no secret, I've been very, very vocal about this, about the desperate need for us as a region to start coordinating better the resources that we do have. It's not all about trying to find more and do more. We need to do that too, I believe. It's about working together better and utilizing the resources that we have more efficiently and effectively, so that we're able to create those solutions for folks. And it's not about finger pointing. It's not about saying it's the county versus the city or someone else. It's about saying, what do we need, where do we need it, and how are we going to do it? And so I'm going to keep pushing for that. You know, there's a lot of resistance to that idea, but there's also a lot of support for that idea too. I want to be really clear. There's a lot of folks who really want to see some kind of solution on that front, and I do believe that that is the future. It's about us working smarter and harder with the resources that we do have to produce what I'm hearing from everyone, regardless of whether you're in the business community or you're an advocate. I'm hearing the same answer, which is we feel sad about the situation that we're seeing on the ground, and we want solutions to that. And I don't think the city of Sacramento is going to figure that out all on our own. We cannot. But we can figure it out together with the other jurisdictions and the folks around us, with the people who are doing boots on the ground, like many of you, with the organizations on the ground. And so I will just say, of all of the many emails and calls and everything that I got from my constituents, not one of them was in support of this. And I think it's because and in fact, many of them said in their emails, it's that they want to see us focus on the things that they believe are more important first, which is creating the resources that people need. And so that's where I'm going to be focusing my energy. I'm not going to be supporting this today like I didn't last time, but I want to appreciate everyone who came and spoke. I was very emotionally moved by many of the statements that were made today, and I just really appreciate those taking the time out of your days, and I know you have a busy life, so thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Pluckybaum. I'll make the second. Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to, bring up a couple points here, because you brought up the point that this was not the case historically in Sacramento. And I remember in 2017 being here on the council with Councilmember Jennings, and it was a different time. Not that we've solved the issue by any means close or by responded to where we are, but the fact was that in 2017, when we made this exemption, We had less than 100 emergency shelter beds run by the city, by the way. There were some small nonprofits, other entities who may have had some housing, and even back then, I remember St. John's was not even a quarter of the size of what it is today. But that compelled the council in a request at that time for the council to vote on an exemption. And where we are today is a different situation. And I want us to think through that we can do more than one thing at a time. Now, unfortunately, we vote on things one thing at a time. Earlier, we voted on the I Street Bridge that's going to provide pedestrian walkways and connectivity between West Sacramento, but that's not going to resolve our transportation problems. That's one item. I think the characterization that this one item is myopic or ill-focused, I think is a red herring and misses the point here. I think the point here that today, we voted earlier on giving staff direction and authorization to reapply for a pro-housing designation so we can get more money. In fact, the last pro-housing designation gave us money for the San Juan project, which the San Juan project is going to be almost exclusively extremely low-income families, like those who are in the 30% and below poverty level. That's how we have to take these actions. And today I heard all of these pieces that, one, we want safer communities for our businesses, for our neighborhoods. We want more housing for people because that's what's going to help address the issue. And yes, we also want a safe work environment for everyone. And we're doing all those each time we take an action here today. And so when I look at this item today and where I voted in 2018, when we had essentially 0 shelter beds, and where we are today with now the Meadowview shelter, with Stockton Boulevard shelter that we just opened up in my area next to where my kid goes, where we go through the X Street Navigation shelter, where we go to Roseville Road, where we have options now. We didn't have those at the time. So it was important that we make sure at that time that we had an option. But we're at a different point today. And there was a request and an ask that we disregard what our employees say. And I got to tell you that I can't disregard what our employees say. So with that, Mayor, I'm going to support this item because I cannot disregard, as an employer as well, our employees. So,
thank you. Councilmember Kaplan. Councilmember Kaplan. What are our options?
City Clerk, point of order. Should we do a 5-minute recess?
No, take the vote. Councilmember Kaplan, can you please begin?
Mr. Pedro, I have a couple questions, maybe that you can help answer for me, please.
Yes, ma'am.
With DCR, we've had numerous conversations, and we know that there are limited resources in the city of Sacramento. Currently, with our list of critical infrastructure, approximately how much time does it take for you to address homeless camps on our critical infrastructure?
Oh, there's a lot to that question. So, critical infrastructure language specifically says that immediate removal for imminent threat to our critical infrastructure. So in imminent threat, it's real time. If it's not imminent threat, then we put it on our priority list, and depending on where the property is, if it's on city property or one of our other agency properties, then we have to coordinate with them. It really is a logistical scheduling more than it is resource. And if we can logistically schedule it sooner, then we will get to it sooner.
So tonight's action We already know City Hall is on the list of critical infrastructure, but we allow the sleeping exemption. By this action tonight, if the council moves forward, am I wrong, or do I not understand it by, if it was added, it says that sleeping is an immediate threat?
Say that again, if it's, that sleeping is an immediate threat?
So on critical infrastructure as the priority for DCR, what you look at is it an immediate threat?
Correct.
And so I'm trying to understand, if the council approves this tonight, is sleeping considered an immediate threat?
It wouldn't be an immediate threat because we would prioritize it based on all the other critical infrastructure calls that we have. We still prioritize them as in order of imminent to where we can get to, actually. I mean, we have more critical infrastructure. We have 49 on our list alone. So by the time we prioritize them and get to imminence versus lowest priority, we're looking at 3 to 4 weeks.
So where would somebody sleeping overnight at City Hall fall on the critical infrastructure and the need to address?
It would, every day, it depends on what comes up in the critical infrastructure list. So it would depend on what's in front of that. If there's something more imminent, then we would address that first. So I couldn't specifically tell you, but I would say it would be on the lower end. It would probably be on the lower end of the spectrum because we're looking at canals and waterways above it.
And what are the hours of your operation?
We're from 7 a.m. to about 4:30.
4:30 p.m.
Correct.
So if this goes into play, help me understand how this comes in with our comprehensive of addressing many individuals who sleep on critical infrastructure all over the city.
Please repeat what that question was in there.
Help me understand how this comes into play, because I have individuals that sleep in my neighborhood parks, that sleep on our levees. So now we're adding you can't sleep at City Hall. But how does this fit in the priority if you're only working till 4 p.m.? And so are we saying that City Hall is more important than any other area we've got critical infrastructure?
No, but there's also the caveat to this in that there is no enforcement between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m.
So help me understand, if there's no enforcement between the hours when you guys leave and 6 a.m., how is the sleeping ban going to be enforced?
It's not comical, it's a known, we know this. There is no enforcement. If you look at our policy right now, there is no enforcement between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. So it's not a conundrum, it's not a, oh, gotcha. We know this. So, I mean, it's...
And help me, thank you for helping me, and I need this to be said out loud, because I think I'm probably good on the questions, so thank you.
Okay.
Won't keep you on the hot spot. I think it's important that sometimes when things are put forward, we ask how we're going to implement them. Because we have thousands of ordinances on our books that some are implemented, some are not. And I always then take a step back because, you know, I am a proud McGeorge grad, and they teach you how to ask why and dig a little deeper. If we put this forward, one, how do we enforce it? And two, is this actually addressing many of the problems that we want to address? Is this getting people into housing? Is it truly addressing the safety of staff? Because if there's no enforcement mechanism, what are we doing? And so I always come from I do think this is whack-a-mole. And I do think this is a little myopic because pro-housing requires a comprehensive approach to how we address our unhoused. And this wouldn't be myopic if we said, we're adding City Hall, but here's how we're going to address everybody who's outside who doesn't have a place to go, or everybody who comes here. And that's what I was looking for in this. If we're going to take an action, what is it doing to address the long-term approach of our unhoused? Because our point in time count, we all know, it's going to go up. We don't have enough beds. We don't have enough space. And I hear from my community, the bathroom in the park was dirty. The bathroom's locked. Somebody is sleeping there overnight. So they're asking me, Councilmember Kaplan, why is City Hall more important than our parks? And then I have people ask, okay, people don't have a place to go, so they're on our levees. But then that's also critical infrastructure in our drinking water. And then they're asking me, so why is City Hall, people sleeping overnight and cleaning every morning, more important than addressing potentially tainted waterways and north of the city, which is built on canals and is basically the flood basin? Why isn't flood protection more important? So I have to take a step back and be humanistic and realize we do have to have compassion, but also I'm trying to be very logical about this in a issue that there isn't a logical solution. Because this is a humanitarian crisis. And I think it is important that when staff say they don't feel safe, we try and find a way to address it. But how do we address it in a way, and is this really going to make staff safer? Because I can tell you, I come down on the weekends, I say hi to the individuals who are outside. I've participated in feeding them on the weekends and backpack drives to make sure that they have things that they need. It might make me feel uncomfortable, but I'm not afraid of them. And I would like to see us as a city, because this is the #1 issue affecting the city and affecting all of us in different ways in our district. But how do we address it in a way that it's taking on the 50 million things we have to do, addressing one issue through completion? I don't see that this is addressing it through completion. And I don't see that this is going to really save money, because people are still going to be here. And if we pay for people to enforce this, then that's a human cost. It's expensive to be poor. So how are we helping people get into long-term housing when they get cited here? Because, by the way, if somebody's doing drugs, that's already illegal, and we can have cops come out. Indecent exposure. We know we need more mental health resources. Certain things that we're trying to police are already on the books that we can ask for help. And I think when you look at increased costs here, let's be realistic. We have labor costs that significantly increased, and we have more personnel here. So the cost is not an apple to apple of what we look at when we're measuring from time frame. Plus, I mean, it's not clear what the actual 911 calls were, because on page 36 of the report, it says there were 222 calls associated with the unhoused at City Hall. Well, on page 37, it says there was 196. I think it's important if we put numbers out that staff reports that they're believable and that there is justification. And 311, there were only 16 calls here alone. I'm not saying that we shouldn't protect our staff. We should. I'm not saying that there aren't concerns about safety. There are. But when we ask people to leave here, we're transferring it over to Ernesto. We're transferring it over to Cesar Chavez Plaza. We're transferring over to the downtown partnership to clean up. And our YPSI staff, because that's a city park. So are we now saying YPSI staff should be cleaning up the needles and should be cleaning up the feces? Have we looked at potentially what's the cost of providing a portable outside? I'm not saying City Hall is the right place to be. I'm just saying, why are we doing this without a comprehensive place and solution? Because I am open to City Hall not being the place. But I've not been given information as to why this is the right thing we need to do. I think all of us kind of have to look at it. We've got unhoused issues in all of our districts. And my community is asking me to do more, so I need to do more of making our neighborhoods safe and our parks safe and our waterways safe and make more affordable housing. And how do we have more resources amongst the limited that we have while addressing a budget deficit? So for me, what's more important is looking at A through Z, a citywide solution, than a whack-a-mole, let's push them out of sight solution that is only going to cause harm in our neighborhoods and elsewhere, to say we don't want to see you, we want you to be hidden, which, by the way, they're just sleeping here at night. So I've not seen things that would cause me to change my mind, and will still be a no vote on this.
Councilmember Dickinson.
Thank you, Mayor. Brian, if I can ask you to come back to the podium for a moment. I think as we have discussed tonight, there are a host of city facilities that are considered critical facilities. Is that right?
Correct.
And those are facilities that we don't, by our city ordinance, allow overnight camping or resting. Is that correct?
Within 25 feet.
Within 25 feet. And those facilities include areas such as our parks, our water treatment plants, similar facilities. Is that right?
Correct.
And to your observation, although there may be instances of people sleeping overnight, staying overnight in a park or by the water treatment facility, is that a common occurrence in your observation?
Fairly common.
So how do you then address that?
So most of the, as I spoke to it before, most of the critical, I wouldn't say most, many of the critical infrastructure sites are owned by other agencies. So the way that our critical infrastructure gets reported is from that agency determining that it is a threat to their critical infrastructure, and they contact us to provide the enforcement piece of removing the encampments off of their property.
And is it a common practice to arrest those who have been located near or on critical facilities?
It's not common unless they have an outstanding warrant that requires an arrest.
So typically they're asked to relocate. Is that correct?
Correct.
And is it true to say, or is it accurate to say, that over time an expectation is created and shared that among those in the community that those are not locations where they should be if they want to remain safe and to the extent they are stable?
Correct.
So would it be any part of your expectation that should this ordinance that's before us tonight be adopted, that at least two things would happen? One, we would offer help in finding shelter or getting to shelter for those who appear here with the intent of staying overnight, and two, over time an expectation would be created that this is not a location where it is acceptable to remain overnight?
Yes, both are true. So shelter space that we do have, amongst all of our shelters, we average anywhere from, depends on the time, but we usually have 5 to 10 opened a week, and they're immediately filled. So we do have shelter space. It rotates. So we do have shelters available. As they come available, we certainly will offer it to, we can offer it here just like we do everywhere in the city.
So part of the intention of approaching this issue is in fact to do as much as possible in helping those into shelter. They have to accept it, of course, but to help those into shelter who are interested in accessing shelter. Is that right?
Correct.
And then, as I said, over time, your expectation would be this would become known, say, as the county building, the state capitol, or other facilities, or other city facilities, an area where it's not acceptable to remain overnight.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. I just have a brief comment in addition to asking those questions. I do appreciate all the testimony tonight, and I certainly appreciate the passion and the devotion to the subject. I will not delve into my own work and experience with respect to addressing homelessness, except to say that I started working on this issue in 1994. So I'm hardly a Johnny-come-lately to it in any respect. I don't agree with those who assert that this is a question of compassion. This is not a question of compassion. There's not a member of this council who isn't compassionate about those who are homeless. And well, prove it, exactly. You look at the tens of millions of dollars that we are spending every year on shelter, on trying and working at increasing housing that's available, on working at locating behavioral health facilities in our city that can serve those in need of services. Every day, there are dozens of city staff members, if not more, that work alongside county staff to help find locations where people can get to shelter and get to the kind of assistance and help that they need. So I apologize if you find my conclusion on this disagreeable, but I don't think it's a question of compassion. It's a question of what is appropriate. And just as there are critical facilities where all of us acknowledge that it is not appropriate for those to stay overnight, then I think this facility falls clearly and squarely into that category. It doesn't mean I'm not interested and committed to trying to do everything I can to help those who are on the street find refuge and to find relief, and it doesn't mean that I'm not totally committed to, as my colleagues have heard me say time after time, to preventing homelessness in the first place, which I believe is actually the only real solution over time for this issue. So, Mayor, I do support this, but I also support the efforts that we are making. In addition, I think it is somewhat misleading in a sense to have this as a sole issue before us tonight, because it obscures all the other efforts that we are making. And there is, I would say, I believe, a comprehensive effort that we have. It may not be as complete or as successful as we all might like to see, but it is not to say that there isn't a significant effort going on each and every day in this community to help those who are homeless and to try to keep people who are at risk of homelessness from becoming so. So I look forward to that conversation on September 16th, and I hope those of you who are here unhappy with what is proposed tonight will be back on September 16th. To hear the complete story of what we are doing. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Council Member Vice Mayor Talamantes.
Thank you so much, Mayor. To members of the public, you had your opportunity to do 2 minutes of public comment. Now it's our time for our public comments. Please respect the dais and this conversation. Brian, I have a quick question for you? Welcome back. Brian, how many people or regulars outside of City Hall that your staff has identified?
It's a tough question. It's different every night. So around 20?
20. And I know Mayor McCarty said that within the next 30 days before this is implemented, your staff is going to work diligently to connect those individuals with housing. Is that correct?
Correct.
And with shelter?
Correct.
Okay, thank you so much. That's it. I've thought really long and hard about this vote. Thought about it a lot, and I read all the comments and everybody that came to testify today. And like Councilmember Dickinson said, homelessness, I mean, this is one vote on homelessness tonight, but homelessness is something that we work on every single day that probably consumes 75% of our time in our district offices and as we make policy here at every single Tuesday at our city council meetings. And I think that all of us here, as we continue to vote on policies and ordinances for the city, need to make sure that our policies are aligning with our plan to address homelessness, including affordable housing, and making sure that the rents stay the way that they are, and so much more. And so that's something for us just to continue to be mindful of. And I'm not pretending that this ordinance solves homelessness or even improves it. It doesn't. But we are an employer of nearly 6,000 people who also deserve to feel safe at the workplace. And this region, this entire Sacramento region, not just the city of Sacramento, this entire region, has work to do to make sure every single employee feels safe at their job, regardless of where one works. And what's happening outside of City Hall isn't just about tents on the sidewalk. It's about the consequences of a system that stretched people until they break, then blames them for breaking. We're living through the collapse of a housing market that treats shelter as a commodity instead of a human right. We're watching as wages remain stagnant while rents skyrocket. SSI remains the same. And as mental health and addiction services are gutted, and public institutions are left to pick up the pieces. With fewer tools and less money every single year, and the gutting of Medicare and safety net programs at the federal level. I'm voting yes tonight, not because I think this ordinance fixes any of that, but because I believe not because I think this ordinance fixes any of that, but because I believe we need some basic structure around how public spaces are used. City Hall is not any more special than our parks, our water facilities, our community centers, and other public amenities that are meant for people to come and go safely. This vote is a failure for the city, but it's necessary because the county has left us with no choice but to take on a leadership role on homelessness. One for which they have all the resources and we have almost none, but like Mayor McCarty said, we continue to allocate all our dollars, apply for funds, apply for grants, think creatively thanks to Brian Pedro and his team, and we've allocated our own general fund dollars to this. We've had dozens of attempts at working with collaboration with every single other agency, and every single one of those has been met with resistance from the county. Last night, Brian Pedro, our DCR director that's gone up there a few times, went to RT to advocate for safe parking spots. Mayor McCarty is trying to identify tiny homes throughout the entire city, not just in certain neighborhoods like District 2 or District 8, the entire city of Sacramento. And we're trying with the tools that are available to us, but absent the mental health resources, we have no shots at success, and it's a loop of failure. And I do believe that unhoused Sacramentans are Sacramentans, and they deserve affordable housing and services. Services and services and services. Wraparound services, because that's the only way that we're going to truly be able to help an unhoused population. So this vote isn't a solution, it's a symptom. And if we want to be serious about solutions, we have to start demanding more from every single branch of government and from ourselves. And I'm committed to that. So I'm voting yes, but with the direction that the regulars here at City Hall get housing placement, and that we do work with the county to hopefully find a place for people to be able to safely be able to sleep at night. Thank you.
Thank
But
you.
we're going to continue trying with the county.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Talamontes, and thanks everybody for their thoughtful comments. I know that we have a split on this council and respect everyone's opinions, represent your district as well as your own views. With that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Can we get a roll call vote? Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Please call the roll.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan?
No.
Councilmember Dickinson?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Talamontes?
Aye.
Councilmember Pleckbaum? Councilmember Maple?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Guerra?
Aye.
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes.
Councilmember Vang?
No.
Mayor McCarty?
Aye.
The measure passes with noes being Vang, Maple, and Kaplan.
Okay, thank you. Next item, please.
Your next item is item 31, Climate Action and Adaptation Plan Annual Progress Report.
You're an embarrassment.
Shame on all of y'all. This shit is racist as fuck. Especially considering that over 60% of our town population is not white. 33% of it is black. Fucking shame.
Please do not disrupt the orderly conduct of these proceedings by continuing to speak out from the audience. You're in violation of Chapter 5 of the City Council Rules of Procedure. Please leave the meeting.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Laura Teller, and I'm an Associate Planner from the Community Development Department. I'm pleased to be here with you this evening to share our Climate Action and Adaptation Plan Annual Report. Before I get started, I want to thank and acknowledge my colleagues from Community Development, Public Works, and the Department of Utilities. This team and others have contributed immeasurably to both our implementation efforts and the report we're sharing with you this evening. The CAP Annual Progress Report provides a brief background on the CAP document, including our greenhouse gas emission reduction targets and key climate impacts facing Sacramento. The report is organized by individual measures from the CAP, offering a snapshot of how we're doing across different sectors. The report includes narrative updates on key implementation actions and quantitative updates where data is available. While this is a high-level narrative update, we're working toward a comprehensive quantitative report in 2027 as committed in the CAP. In 2024 and early 2025, we've made significant progress on related planning efforts that support CAP implementation. We finalized the existing building electrification strategy in May 2024. We adopted the Parks Plan 2040 in August 2024. We adopted the Sacramento Urban Forest Plan in June 2025. We released the draft Streets for People Active Transportation Plan, which staff anticipate bringing forward for adoption this fall. And we are currently developing the SAC-ADAPT Transportation Adaptation Plan, a project funded by a Caltrans grant. This plan is in progress and is expected to be completed in 2026. These plans are interconnected and guide staff in prioritizing CAP implementation efforts. We're also moving beyond planning and into implementation. SMUD continues building out clean energy resources, including solar, wind, battery storage, and geothermal. We completed a successful equity-focused pilot that paired home repair with electrification and are seeing strong trends toward all-electric new construction. EV adoption is growing. Nearly 28% of new car sales in Sacramento in 2024 were zero emission. We expanded public EV charging, launched an e-bike lending program, and improved car share access. We completed major downtown bike infrastructure and made progress on 2 regional multi-use paths. We're upgrading water treatment, expanding groundwater storage, modernizing floodgates, and we deployed air quality monitors in pollution-burdened communities. These are just the highlights. More details are available in the full report. Implementation presents both exciting opportunities and real challenges. We're fortunate to have strong interdepartmental collaboration, thanks in large part to our Office of Climate Action and Sustainability, which plays a key role in coordinating climate efforts across city departments. We also have strong regional collaboration with SMUD, Sacramento Sewer District, SAC-RT, and a wide range of jurisdiction, university, and CBO partners across the Sacramento region. As we look ahead, one of the key challenges is funding. Grants are inadequate to meet our full funding needs, require significant staff time to apply for, and as we have seen this year, are vulnerable to changing political conditions. Notably, we are feeling the impacts of the change in federal policy priorities acutely. The Sacramento Neighborhood Resilience Pilot Project, which was funded by a $980,000 grant from the US EPA, was terminated in March 2025. In addition, the Community Development Department received a conditional award of $10 million from the Department of Energy last December to develop a building performance standards program. However, we have not been able to enter into an agreement thus far. These examples, among others, point to the need for more durable sources of funding to meet our CAP targets. This concludes my presentation. We appreciate the opportunity to share about the progress we've made since adopting the CAP in February 2024. We have a lot more exciting work in progress and are committed to the challenge of addressing the city's greenhouse gas emissions to meet our climate goals and improving our resilience to climate impacts, many of which we're already experiencing. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much. Do we have public comment on this item?
Yes, Vice Mayor, I have 10 speakers. The first is Dawn Angelo, Katie McCammon, Pat Ferris, Ruth Holton Hodson.
Good evening, council members and mayor. My name is Dawn Angelo, and I serve as the Sacramento Regional Director for AARP. I'm here on behalf of the 65,000 plus AARP members in the city of Sacramento, asking you to review the progress reports for the City of Sacramento 2040 General Plan and the Climate Action and Adaptation Plans, that you also consider and prioritize the needs of the growing older adult population and their families. Shortly after the General Plan and Climate Action and Adaptation Plans were approved last year, the City Council also approved the Age-Friendly Community Action Plan, demonstrating its commitment to improving the quality of life for older Sacramentans. As outlined in AARP's letter sent prior to tonight's meeting, the 3-year Age-Friendly Community Action Plan prioritizes actions focused on the needs of older adults while also helping to make the community more livable for people of all ages. The goals align with the city's 2040 General Plan, the Climate Action and Adaptation Plan, as well as the Housing Plan. Where the plans differ is prioritizing the needs of older adults and their families. We know by 2030 it's projected that 1 in 4 Californians will be 65 and older, and by 2035, for the first time in our nation's history, the number of adults older than 65 will be greater than the number of children under the age of 18. Preparing for this shift in our population is critical. Evaluation of the Age-Friendly Action Plan will occur at the end of its implementation timeframe in 2027. As you consider the outcomes for the first year of the 2040 General Plan and Climate Action and Adaptation Plan, I ask that you keep top of mind the Age-Friendly Action Plan and the older adult population and their families. Thank you.
I'll give you a comment. Katie McCammon.
Hi, thank you guys. Great work on this. Last week, the International Court of Justice ruled that states have an obligation to protect the environment from greenhouse gas emissions. The CAP can put us on that path at greater speed, but only if we invest in it. The fires in LA alone this year will cost the state over $250 billion, as you guys well know. How many catastrophes will we witness until we stand up for the health of the public? Fossil fuel companies made record profits in the second quarter of 2024. ExxonMobil, 70,000 per minute. Shell, 48,000 per minute. Chevron, 36,000 per minute. But we ask how we will fund climate efforts. Looks like we know where the money is. Please stand with taxpayers and constituents to support a resolution for the Polluters Pay Climate Superfund Act. This bill will charge the top 1% of fossil fuel company polluters for damages they've knowingly caused over the last 30 years, similar to other pollution cleanup Superfund bills. This money can stop feeding the pockets of a wealthy few and be distributed to support infrastructure and resilience projects across the state, like those found in the CAP. Let's have Sacramento join the city and county of San Francisco, LA, San Diego, Berkeley, and Albany in a resolution to pass this bill. Taxpayers can't afford to keep paying for fossil fuel-backed climate disasters. Enough lives, homes, and communities have been lost in the name of wealthy few. Let's change our path now. And thank you to those few who spoke real, wonderful words tonight.
Thank you for your comments. Pat Ferris.
A long night, huh?
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Pat Ferris with Third Act Sacramento. We represent 300 members of Sacramento community. I've been a resident here for 23 years. Very concerned about climate mitigation, future climate damages, and concerned about the budget that you folks are all facing and all of the tremendous difficult issues you're trying to resolve. Thankfully, there is a funding source that you may or may not be aware of. And that funding source potential is the Polluters Pay Climate Superfund bill that's going through the Senate and the Assembly in the state as we speak. With that bill, there's a potential of creating a superfund into which the fossil fuel industry that's contributed to climate damages and climate risks in this state pay, and the money from that fund pays for projects that are allocated in the cap. So you heard the report that said we're on track with the cap, except there's a lack of funding. I'm here to tell you there's potential for funding, but what would be required is for you folks as a whole to pass a resolution to endorse the Polluters Pay Climate Superfund Act. Please do that.
Thank you for your comments. Ruth Holton Hodgson, then Penny Leff, then Selena T. Ruth?
Thank you. Ruth Holton Hudson, also with Third Act, and as you've heard, and we sent you all a letter about Make Polluters Pay with lots of fact sheets. I hope you have a chance to look at it. As my colleagues have said, there is a funding source, but the legislature needs to hear from municipalities throughout the state that this funding source is critical for municipalities like Sacramento to be able to move forward on their climate action plans that make perfect sense. The Public Health Alliance of Southern California estimates that by 2035, which is actually only in 10 years, Sacramento will experience an average of 45 days each year over 100 degrees. 4 months of the year will be over 90 degrees. This plan has to be implemented. And as you've heard, the good news is there's a potential funding source. Supporters of Make Polluters Pay estimate it's $150 billion will be in this fund to address the state's needs. So why does the legislature need to hear from you? This bill passed in Vermont, it passed in New York, but it was only after the legislature heard from municipalities throughout the state that they need this funding source. There's no money coming from the feds. The state is in a dire situation, especially with the passage of the most recent federal legislation. So we would love to work with you on this resolution. We have language from Berkeley, from LA, from San Francisco, from San Diego, and so we really appreciate the opportunity to work with you on a resolution to support Make Polluters Pay. Thank you.
Your comments. Our next speaker is Penny Leff. Penny Leff, then Selena T., then Moyes.
Hello, everybody. I'm Penny Leff. I live in Tahoe Park. I believe that's in District 6, I think. Anyway, I'm also a citizen of the planet Earth, and I am amazingly distressed to see what all of us all over the world are doing to this planet, and it's pretty freaky what we're leaving for our kids and our grandkids and the next generations, down 7 generations. And it's like, you all know what's going on here. And I am really glad to see what the city of Sacramento is working on and your climate action plan. And everything that it's a wonderful plan. I like what you're doing. And I would also like to encourage you to look into the funding from Make Polluters Pay bills that are going through the state, and to get together with people from Third Act and other folks that can help you make sure that the city of Sacramento advocates with the state to make polluters pay and to fund the work that we all need to do to save our planet and our city and make life livable for all of us and our kids and grandkids and their kids and grandkids. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Selena, then Moise.
Good evening. Hanging in there? Still awake? Cool. I'm a deeply concerned English teacher and Sunrise Sacramento volunteer here to request that the Sacramento City Council pass a resolution in support of the Polluters Pay Climate Superfund Act, SB 684, AB 1243. The entire state of California is in need of bold solutions in order to fund our defense against the horrific effects of climate change. And Sacramento would be remiss if it were to pass up the opportunity to lead the charge. We remember the fall of 2018 when Sacramento was blanketed in thick smoke as the entire city of Paradise burned. Recently, we've seen so many LA homeowners driven from their houses, fighting with insurance companies, and still having to pay off mortgages for charred, toxic plots of land. It is estimated that by 2050, California taxpayers will dole out $113 billion annually for climate-fueled disaster cleanup to appeal to a sense of law and order. In a perfect world, perpetrators of violence would be held accountable for their actions. They would serve jail time or pay a hefty fee to the victims and their families. Corporate polluters have indeed committed numerous acts of violence against the people of California, while profiting immensely from the sale of products that ultimately cause mass destruction of private property, public lands and resources, infrastructure, and human lives. Why should the victims pay for damages? Why should state and local governments bear the cost of rebuilding? Corporate polluters have the money. They are the culprits. Make them pay. Council members and Mayor McCarty, who is not present at this moment, please pass a resolution in support of the Polluters Pay Climate Superfund Act. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I have three more speakers, Moise, Sally Callaghan, and then Rick Codina. I don't see Moise. Sally? Following Sally is Rick.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to emphasize that last week I went to a meeting, and during that meeting, Climate Health estimated that if this Superfund bill were passed, that California's 50 or so counties would each get approximately $130 million per year for 20 years. That's a drop in the bucket compared to what she just explained the cost will be, but I think we'd be really silly not to consider that money. A second thing, which I know has been brought to your attention, is that there's the opportunity for Sacramento to start exploring, and I know you already have started exploring, but to delve more deeply into public banking. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Rick Codina.
Thank you, Mayor in absentia and council members. My name is Rick Codina. I'm in District 5, and I'm speaking on behalf of the electrification team of 350 Sacramento. And our members have worked closely with city staff for the reduction of greenhouse gas in buildings back since the City Climate Commission in 2019 was formed. We focus on this issue because greenhouse gases may be invisible, but it's also easy to ignore in face of other issues, as we've seen tonight. But it is probably our most deadly pressing issue around. And we know that replacing gas with electric heating remains in the city the most impactful and effective means of greenhouse gas reduction locally. So we have some more extensive comments that we've left behind, but I've got a couple of things I wanted to bring up tonight. One is I wanted to thank the city, and particularly Laura and Vic, for the progress they have made. And it's good to hear that the permitting procedures and systems have been updated to better track the conversion of gas appliances to heat pumps. That's actually a critical detail. And that staff are looking to do further refinements. We still hope that Sacramento will consider easier permitting for electrification projects as a way of incentivizing them, like creating an e-counter for submitting permit requests. And we also strongly urge the city to consider moving forward with electrification ordinances. I know there's been a bit of a hiccup with the new AB 306 bill, but we honestly believe that there's the carve-out exception for the city having made progress on the issue ahead of time means that they could go forward with it. And thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for all your comments. Thank you so much for enlightening me on the bills at the Capitol. I don't follow that too much, so appreciate your insight and your information. First up, we have Councilmember Maple.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I want to start by saying thank you. I know this is an update, and we had a broader conversation about this about a year ago, but I really appreciate coming back and making sure that people know the progress that we are making. It's not just something that sits on a shelf. It's something that breathes life and is work that's happening every single day. So I just want to thank you for that. I also want to thank members on this dais and former Mayor Joel Steinberg and others who really were the genesis of this long before I was here. So I think that's really important to note. I'm proud. I think that there's still a lot of places in California and beyond that don't even have policies like this. And we not only have one, we have a strong one, and we have one that we're working towards every day. And that means something meaningful in our own communities. I think about my district and some of the steps that have been taken. We've built 3.7 miles of protected bikeways and 3.4 miles of buffered bike lanes. We've added high visibility crosswalks at 17 intersections and upgraded 1.4 miles of sidewalks and installed 13 electric vehicle charging stations along with our EV transportation goals. So those are very real things that local governments can do. And they cost money, and we work very hard to make sure that we can get that money. But as many have noted, we don't have enough. And that's one of the key things that is in this report. And so I just wanted to uplift. I wanted to thank all those who came from the Make Polluters Pay. I learned a lot. And actually, as I was consulting on the side with my colleague here, Councilmember Guerra, it seems to me that something like that would actually fall within what the city's legislative platform that already exists. So as the chair of Law and Leg, I will be looking into that. We'll be meeting with our government affairs team and happy to follow up with you on whatever route that may take, whether it comes back here to council through a proposal, whether that's something we can do via letter or something else. But I'll make sure I coordinate with you to make sure that we're doing the right thing because it seems to me that we are trying to find all the resources that we can to make this a reality. And so just want to thank you again, and also thanks for being here on a long night.
Next up, Councilmember Dickinson.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and thank you, our chair of the Law and Leg Committee, for your comments, because I was going to raise the issue of how we tee up, looking at SB 684 and AB 1243. So if it fits within our legislative policy, that's the easiest way to go. Obviously, with the legislature coming back in a couple of weeks and a quick run to adjournment in mid-September, time is of the essence, so whatever we can do to expedite that would be very helpful. I want to mention something else that is authorized by legislation, and that's climate resilience districts, which was embodied in SB 852 by Senator Bill Dodd back in 2022, if I recall. I should recall, but the financing challenges are often, are obviously significant given what's happening with federal funding, and so looking at different options, the legislation that we've talked about is one. CRDs might be another, and we might be able to combine actually with the county, with SMUD, and we don't have to in order to pursue one, but there are some financing options available under the CRD legislation, even though it's premised on EIFDs, it's not limited to tax increment. And so there are challenges to be sure with it, but it might be something at least worth taking a look at. And I do want to thank you for the report and the good work. There are lots of folks here and others who have done some very good work this year. I wish we could rest on our laurels, but we are far from being able to do that. If anything, our challenge is even greater, I think, than we have collectively recognized. For me, climate change is the existential issue, socially, economically, and environmentally of our time. And so, as we talk about the city's priorities, as a preview, I suppose, to when the council gets together to discuss these, climate change is right at the top of addressing climate change is right at the top of my list. There are a couple things, a couple areas I think that call out for attention. You always want to pick the low-hanging fruit, of course, but it's the built environment and its transportation that are where we are getting the vast majority of our GHG emissions. And so I think it's incumbent on all of us, council and staff alike, to look at how we can focus in, given the resources we've got, on doing more than we currently are. Our timeline, I know the council agreed to it with great discussion previous to my getting here, but I don't think it's a timeline we can be satisfied with. We've got to push harder in whatever ways we can, and so that calls for creativity. That calls for us all thinking about ways in which we can change both our process and our results to get more done with respect to reducing GHG emissions. I think that it was terrific that the city entered into the agreement with the county and SMUD to work together collectively. What are the boundaries we can push on that? SMUD is a hugely important partner, as is the county. What more can we do through that partnership to realize results that benefit the citizens, residents, and citizens of the city and beyond? Can we do things like, there was a mention of e-permitting. Can we do more video and remote permitting that reduces cost and saves time? Maybe that's something Councilmember Pluckybaum is going to be looking at even more broadly in the mayor and the streamlining initiative. But those kinds of process changes can be significant in both in terms of time and money. I do think that in the built environment context, connected to transportation, figuring out what more we can do, if anything, or incentives or ways to get at increasing charging capacity in multifamily facilities is going to be critical. I don't think it's going to be the cost so much of buying an EV. I mean, the cost is coming down. They're getting much more affordable. While we had the federal incentive has gone away for the moment, the necessity for incentives may be getting to be less and less as those costs get reduced. But you're not going to buy an EV if you're not confident you can charge it. And the Energy Commission did a study a couple of years ago that determined that 80% of charging occurs at home. Well, if you can't charge at home, and your opportunity to charge where you work or other places is limited, you're not going to make that step. So while EVs certainly aren't the entire solution to addressing transportation, we've got to continue to get those VMT reductions as well. I think that if we can't succeed in making charging relatively accessible and easy for people who are in multifamily circumstances, we're going to stall. Excuse the expression. We're going to stall on trying to expand EVs. You said 28%. That's great, but we got to do much better than that. So, as you might guess, I've got some other thoughts as well. But I'm looking at the clock too, and so I'm gonna stop there. But I really want to again emphasize how much I appreciate the effort that you're all making, that this is at the top of your minds as you're looking at all the work you're doing. We don't live in a cubbyhole here or a silo when it comes to climate. All of us can do things that, whether they're small or large, that can reduce our GHG footprint. And this has always been an issue where we can think globally and act locally. Well, that's what we have to do. We have to think and act locally every day. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you. I too want to echo and thank the chair of Law and Ledge. I support whatever action moves the Polluters Pay Superfund resolution coming through. I think it's what we should do as a city. I mean, I did my part on Sunday. I transferred to a fully electric car, so I'm from a hybrid to fully electric. It is possible, but thank you for bringing up, EVs, Councilmember Dickinson. One of the things that would be interesting is when the general plan came up, I actually asked us to increase the amount and increase the requirement. But what I'm finding is that many of the plans and sites where multifamily is coming, they are under old general plans. So therefore, our new rules for EV and charging stations really don't apply, and the developer isn't truly obligated to apply. Now, I did a direct negotiation with one of them and got a couple more plugins put in, but I think we have to think about how do we cross that? Because many of the sites and pieces of land in our city are already zoned, and they may have a plan that happened a long time ago and then got held. And now they're starting to develop, and that's under general plan that maybe 10 years ago that really electrification wasn't a big deal. And especially in my district in Natomas, that's what we have a lot of because of the flood moratorium, what I'm finding. And so how do we solve that when legally they're not obligated? And that's just a small issue I want to bring up. Because the bigger issue is, one, we don't have enough money to plant. We did an urban forest plan that says we need to plant some 5,000 trees a year. We're good at maybe a couple hundred, and how we, cool things down. And we know it's going to take $3.2 billion if we really want to implement this plan. So my question is while we've got this great plan, and you guys have done a wonderful plan, what is our financing and implementation plan? Knowing that we've got federal money on the line, but have we looked at, as Councilmember Dickinson said, all the different potential options and where it could be, where do we prioritize? Versus, there's grants out there and maybe it's prioritized based on what's get funding, but what's going to have the greatest impact to get where we need to go. And finally, it goes to, we need regional partners on this because I brought up and asked changes to TR, 2.10, which talks about removing barriers to exit transit stops and stations and provide enhanced mobility. My district has 2 stops. It is pretty sad that in my district, it takes 45 minutes to get to the central city when it's a 15-minute car drive. To get to Robla, the Robla portion of my district to North Natomas takes almost an hour. You can almost walk faster. To get to the airport, which is a 10-minute drive, takes approximately 70 minutes on transit and 2 or 3 different lines. So if we're serious about implementing our climate goals, we have got to work differently with our partners because Natomas is ripe, but we don't have transit lines. I would love to bike downtown. I did when I lived in South Natomas, but now I live in North Natomas, and that option, it's not really safe, and it's not convenient for people to get out of their cars, and cars are the biggest polluters we have to worry about. So that's where it would be interesting, and I hope as you guys come back, that I don't want this to be a once every 5 years report back, but what are we doing and how are we staying on top of this? Because this is the most important issue that everybody likes to ignore, but is the most important issue for the livelihood of my children and future grandchildren, if I should so have them. So thank you for all of your hard work. Now we just need to focus on how do we implement and find the funding. So thank you.
Councilmember Guerra.
Thank you very much, and I acknowledge the hour as well, but one, I just want to thank staff and as the council member who made the motion to approve the climate action plan and also made the motion for the community age-appropriate cities designation as part of our plan as well, and working with the AARP. It's not lost on me on all the hard work that it's taken to us to get here. And also the fact that not only as a city, but through the leadership of the city in our joint powers authority, like our air district, we've improved not only our particulate numbers, but our NOx and our SOx numbers. Or as I should say, we need to knock the socks off of our air quality problems. It's an engineer's joke there, but to that point, I'm excited about where we're moving and the vision that we have and the direction that we have. And yes, it's unfortunate that we have a federal administration who completely is ignoring the public health of our future generation. And so I think to that point, I support the ability to look at our policy platform and see if we already have the authority to take a position on, I think it's Assemblymember or Senator Menjivar that's working on this, and I've worked with their staff. We were colleagues together, so they're great staff in the senator's office as well, and so I'm looking forward to seeing where we go from there. I will say that yes, it is important. I think today's action on the consent calendar was making sure that we were deploying and taking every action to increase the number of EV chargers. And so, no, that didn't get brought up. It was a consent item, but that's fine. That is, again, a direction that's happening because of this effort. But even with electric vehicles, and I acknowledge your point, Councilmember Kaplan, even if we have more vehicles out there, that still is VMT. That is still congestion, and then there's still particulates in the air. So I for one is one that enjoys using the e-bike. Okay, I call it my minivan because I drop off the kids at school and at right now at Fairy Tale Town at Fun Camp with the e-bike. But we need to improve our bike safety, and today we voted also on the Broadway plan that improves the bike safety for our area. So we're taking positive actions to make viable options for people not to have to drive, so we have better air and cleaner air for our future. And that takes I think, a vision that our staff is executing. So I just wanted to say thank you to the staff for that. I know right now there is conversations about how cap and trade is reauthorized. There's a debate on how that happens, but if it is reauthorized, I think this is an area where I want us to be more aggressive to go after those funding sources that are paid by those polluters also, to be able to capture those and make sure that we manage them better. So I think that's my only direction, is to, as soon as this debate on the cap and trade reauthorization happens, that the city be aggressive in going after those. Last, I just wanted to say, I was in the country of Morocco for the month of July, and the number of electric stoves that I went into, all the riads, I mean, you should just tell us, that we should be thinking about how to better use conduction of stoves and address the issues that we have with natural gas in our stoves here in our area. So excited about it, great work, and again, I also want to thank AARP because that their effort in making sure that we were doing this work. And also Rick, thank you. I mean, you're out there at every EV event. I appreciate your work, Rick. We can't do it without all the community efforts out there. And thank you to Third Act for being out here today as well. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So this is review, comment, and provide direction, so we do not need an action today. Thank you so much to all the city staff that contributed to this report. Moving along, we have our item number 32 is our 2040 General Plan Annual Report for 2024. Probably one of the most important reports. We need more housing, more affordable housing.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for your time today, council members. My name is Amy Yang. I am a senior planner with the Long Range Planning Team, the Community Development Department. In this presentation this evening, I am looking forward to providing a high-level overview of the 2040 General Plan Annual Report for 2024. The 2040 General Plan was adopted last year on February 27th, 2024, and serves as the North Star for planning and development citywide. So one full year after adoption, we are back to provide an annual report on the 2040 General Plan. The body of the 2040 General Plan Annual Report spotlights major projects and high-level development trends. Appendix A provides a copy of the 2040 Vision and Guiding Principles. Appendix B provides a status update on the administration and implementation of the General Plan's 79 implementing actions, 11 of which have been completed, with 47 already in progress. And Appendix C also provides a status update on the 9 General Plan sustainability and equity indicators, which help track the city's progress toward a more sustainable and equitable community. The vision for this effort was for Sacramento to be a national model of sustainable and equitable growth and community development. The vision is bolstered by a series of guiding principles, which can be grouped into 6 categories: sustainable and responsible growth, resiliency and climate action, safe, equitable, inclusive, and just city, regional economic hub, livability and sense of place, and interconnected, accessible city. The vision and guiding principles are the foundation for the goals, policies, and actions in the 2040 General Plan. So because of this, the annual report highlights and illustrates how programs and projects across all city departments are very aligned with these visionary principles that aim to create a more sustainable and equitable community. As mentioned earlier, the 2040 General Plan includes 79 implementing actions, 11 of which have been completed, with 47 already in progress. The General Plan provides specific policy guidance for the implementation of plan concepts through its goals, policies, and implementing actions. This framework establishes a basis for coordinated action between city departments, the county, and regional agencies. The implementation chapter lists the major actions to be undertaken by the city to support the goals of the General Plan. In many areas, the General Plan implementation will depend on actions of various departments, other public agencies, and the private sector. Appendix B of the annual report provides succinct updates for each action and identifies whether it is complete or in progress. The equity and sustainability indicators help track the city's progress toward a more sustainable and equitable community. One area of improvement includes our metric for housing burden. Between our baseline in 2023, the percent of renters experiencing housing burden increased from 27.6% to 28%, with percent of owners experiencing housing burden increasing from 52.7% to 54.8%. While it is an area that requires more attention from the city, it does track with our understanding of the severity of the housing crisis on a larger scale. Compared to California as a whole, Sacramento renters experience the same rate of housing burden as renters statewide, while Sacramento homeowners are less likely to experience housing burden than homeowners statewide. While our report shows an increase in housing burden this year, we hope to see improvements in upcoming years through the continued implementation of housing and land use policies. They also show us where we have seen success, including the fact that in 2024, 66% of housing development and 82% of non-residential development occurred in opportunity areas, which are areas identified in the general plan that best support the development of mixed-use corridors and centers that can feature a range of housing, employment, educational, cultural, and recreational options. So we are really excited to see that the majority of development in last year has gone to support a more interconnected built environment. So this is a very high-level overview of what is included in the annual report. We encourage everyone to take a look at the full report for additional details. That concludes my presentation, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. Are there any members of the public signed up to speak?
I have no speakers on this item.
Okay. Councilmember Dickinson.
Coordination. Thanks for the update. I actually just wanted to flag one thing in particular, and it's a general plan issue, but it's a specific ordinance issue too, and that's the missing middle ordinance, which I know we look to help us increase this housing supply and meet all those things, all those goals you were talking about, including reducing GHG emissions. But and I understand we're going to have a revisit of it perhaps in the fall. I do think there are some circumstances, we're seeing one in Robla, where it doesn't seem to be such a good fit. And so I just want to put a marker use this occasion to put a marker on that, because I think we may need some refinement of that ordinance to make sure that it accomplishes what we're setting out to do, but also recognizes that there may be places where it doesn't work to meet or serve other values that we have in the context of the general plan. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Going once, I don't see anybody else in the queue. Okay, Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you. I want to thank all the staff and everybody that took the time and effort to put in, because this is a really progressive, comprehensive plan. But I also just want to highlight that there's a lot of things mentioned in the city and very little mentioned about District 1, and I appreciate that there was a removal, that we had a town center, where in reality that is just a marketplace, and we don't have a town center. And while we have something called a community center, it is not a community center, it's an event center. It's too expensive for our community to rent. So I just would like to see that my district doesn't get forgotten and gets called out more than just the aquatic center. There's a lot of development going on from the Panhandle, which is really the handle, and North Lake. And so I want us to think about how we do when we look at our general plan, because the North Natomas specific plan said that there would be approximately 4 community centers in North Natomas at build out, and I don't have one. And the only place I continued a program Senator Ashby started, but our youth and our teens have nowhere to go. And I have over 100 teens in that program. What would they be doing if but for that program? So, I know we got a lot of work ahead of us, but I didn't feel like I would be doing my district a service if I didn't call out that we need to do a little bit more when we're talking about planning and implementation. My district had a phenomenal plan when it was all discussed in the 80s and 90s, and they're asking me why hasn't certain things been implemented. So, we need that bridge over I-5. We need an actual, small community centers that are outside the HOA. Because I have communities in my district that don't have HOA, so they don't have places to go. And so how do we invite and get stuff for our teens, which generally comes with community centers as well. So thank you.
Okay. And no other council members sign up to speak. Thank you so much to city staff. This is also review, comment, and provide direction. Appreciate your work. Okay, moving along. We are done. Council comments, questions, ideas, speeches. No speeches. Just kidding. Okay, all right, seeing none. I have 3. Oh, okay, we have public comment. Sorry, we have 3 public comment.
I do have 3 speakers for matters not on the agenda: David Bach, Kyle Williams, and Margarita Beltran.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and the City Council members. I'm a resident of District 7. Sounds like the Hunger Games. Hello, Eric. I read, heard, or saw where an individual on a scooter got killed by colliding with a light rail recently. And I figured there's a reasonable, relatively inexpensive way to resolve that partly. Paint yellow stripes across the rails at specific intervals. So when people are approaching it, they can get a sense when they see a light rail or a train coming. They can get a sense of how fast it's traversing across that interval. They implemented this in India years ago with substantial positive results. And I believe the American Society of Civil Engineers could provide more information about the intervals, I don't know, 50 feet, 100 feet. They'd have that kind of information for the city to investigate. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Kyle Williams.
Thank you. Second of three, as I promised. I am attempting, in my way, and a lot of you are probably doing the same thing, is to bring us together, right? I'm for actual equality. Not this. This is where we are now. We've been here, right? It's pretty simple to think about if you ask back to 1900 where we were. We were here, now we're here. We need to get to here. Everybody needs to be powerful. Everybody needs to be doing what they want. Everybody needs to be participating. So think of that. I'm looking at doing a campaign that's point, bitch, and complain. Point, bitch, and complain. It's all I hear out there. I want a little help with that. Is it a California problem? Is it a Sacramento problem? Or is it all across the nation? So with that, when I think of that, I think of the fact that as much as we bag on you guys for being up here, it's amazing that you're up here. You're doing your part. I don't agree with all of you, that's for sure, but you're up here. So my hat's off to you. Hat tip, as they say. Homelessness, man, that one lady said it's a man-made crisis. Completely. Your governor is very important in this. Mr. McCarthy needs him, and the president needs to be, they need to be working together. Really hard to solve homelessness without the federal government's help. And by the way, the federal government is an independent party now. It's working together. It's working very efficiently now. RFK Jr. left the Democratic Party, became an independent. Dan Bongino, total stud, left the Republican, became the independent. I could go through 10 other of his cabinet that are all independents. So are you guys going to start working together? Kind of my question. Federal government, trust me, I follow it. I follow that. It's working together. It's just the old boy parties, the Democrats and the Republicans that everybody's leaving, they're not working together. The independent party is 43% of the registered voter. They're working together.
Thank you for your comments. Margarita Beltran is our final speaker this evening.
Good evening. My name is Margarita Beltran. It's very heartbroken because the individual that I'm here for, I'm not from San Francisco. I reside in LA. But the person, the convict that is in the system, in you guys' system, they committed a crime, got sentenced. And today, the individual that I'm talking about is my son. And I have a tough situation. It's brutal, especially for moms. My son is in the risk of getting killed, and I cannot find help. I went to places and got forms, but I know what's going to happen to these forms. Like it happened with the past incident that he had, Richard Donovan prison. Today he resides in Mill Creek State Prison. I've been there asking for help. They refused. They said I cannot file a complaint right there. I understand that I'm not here to complain about city or nothing. I'm just here begging for someone to help me, that my son doesn't get killed. I don't want to receive my son in a plastic bag, like usually happens, because those wounds are straight to kill, okay? And it's not just that he's a criminal, he's already paying his consequences, but the system is not helping, and that's for Governor Newsom to help. I would have loved for Mayor to be here, because I know that they're close, and that would have got to Governor Newsom. I need his help. I need to save my son's life. And if no one wants to help me, it wouldn't surprise me, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay? As you guys know, I've been through the same brutal harassment, misleading. I have a case. I'm sure that Sacramento knows about it. You know, it was a brutal case, you know, a personal injury, property damage case, you know, where no one helped me. And I stood back, afraid of the system, afraid of police officers, because I had too many people involved. One simple injury was
Thank you for your comments.
catastrophic.
Your time
Please,
is complete.
I need help.
We will direct city staff to see what kind of resources we have available to you.
I need
from the
someone
city of
just,
Sacramento.
if they want to just cover anything, I don't care. You know, I didn't sue for money, but today is my son's life. There has been a retaliation because
Our assistant
they
city
know he's my
manager,
son.
is happy to talk to you, standing behind you. And we will see what resources we have, and I'm so sorry, and
Please.
thank you for sharing.
I would have loved Mayor to stay here because I know he probably would have called and a cell phone to talk to News. So News needs to help reform those. My son didn't qualify for the program, Prop 57, because he's my son.
Thank you so much.
They put
I'm
him
so
with
sorry.
Please, I need help. All of you guys are witness now of what I'm going through. I need help.
Thank you. He's behind you. Thank you so much for coming to City Council. And, well, with that being said, it's 9:03 PM, and there's no other public comment. Just my thoughts are with McCarty family. Thank you.